Hey, 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 all my favorite people out there. This is one of your favorite humans, Proverbs guy, and one of my favorite humans, Dustin. The buck stops here. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm thinking about that Lionsgate lion that a bunch of dudes tied down to a table and made roar and then dubbed over a tiger roar because lion roar wasn't, I guess, aggressive enough. I don't know.
I don't know about. I mean, I would be lying to say I don't know what you're talking about. I have been told before that the way the MGM, I think it is, right? Is it MGM
uh,
with the lion?
yep,
Yeah, MGM
yep.
Studios got the lion to roar by like aggravating it. Um, and that
Yeah,
said,
they tied it down to a table, bro. They had all four of his limbs tied down.
I do want to specify though the roar I used for my intro is not related to the roar that you are referring to. It's a roar I got off of stock footage. So different
No
roar
lions
in
were
case
hurt
PETA is
in the
listening.
recording.
Right.
No lions were hurt in the recording of Proverbs Guy Channel's Ministries.
Not even 60 years ago, okay? We are solid. So you had a.
It's just
It's just
it's
what?
just ironic because the lion didn't get to strike.
Huh. Yeah, you know what, though? If they were aggravating the lion, why didn't the lion lash out?
Well, I mean, for one thing, tranquilizers are a hell of a drug.
So you think they
and
just
for a,
trinked it and then antagonized it? And it was just like really high and
absolutely,
it's rolling its head around like, roar, I'm gonna get you when I'm
man,
sober.
man, I don't know of any four or five, even a group of men that would be crazy enough to try to go take a picture of a freaking lion. Not unless he was doped out of his mind.
I'm from Florida, and I know a couple boys who would do it for a 6 pack of Budweiser.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be stupid about it, right? I mean, they'd probably take some precaution.
Dude,
I mean, that
you're
lion's a
talking
freaking.
you're talking about a group of people, Floridians, who swim with dinosaurs for fun and antagonize alligators. We feed them as pets.
I mean, yeah, I guess. And then you turn around and eat them too. I hear alligators a good barbecue.
So it's not kosher. I'm not supposed to eat it technically, but I tried it a couple times when I was younger, like fried gator tail, and from what I remember, it tasted just like fried catfish.
Huh. So anyway, they're still on strike, I believe, out there in Hollywood.
Okay, great. We were talking about that right before we went live, and you were expressing that all the actors and cast, all of it, they're all on strike right now.
That's my understanding of it. I mean, current events. My understanding of current events that could have changed by now. I'll go do a quick Google search.
Well, my question is, what would they be striking for? Do they not make enough millions, or did they want like better working conditions?
I All I know is that they're on strike. Yeah, Hollywood strikes. 2023. Why are actors striking? In addition to standing with solidarity with the writers, I guess the writers were striking. It wasn't the crew.
Oh, the writers.
The
It's
strike is,
always the Writers Guild, dude. Always.
yeah. So the actors have come out and I guess they're protesting against digital AI too.
Well, I mean, that I get. Their jobs are really in trouble right now.
I mean, there are no 21-year-olds that can compete with an AI generated hottie. It just doesn't work like that anymore.
No, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. And it's crazy, okay? I went to Checkers yesterday, which is like a fast food chain if you don't have them out west. And the machine that took my order was that. It was a machine, it was AI. And it got my order exactly
Imagine,
right. And it was a specialty order.
nice. Imagine, imagine all these cam girls gonna imagine their strike when they find out that AIs come and take their job.
Well, and they do need to do something though, because like the power of AI to do those deep fake videos is very disturbing. And they do need to find a way to regulate it, because being able to steal somebody's identity like that, in a violating way that can ruin a reputation, like they are going to have to address it at some point.
I mean, what are you gonna do? The cat's out of the bag. You're not gonna be able to put the genie back in the bottle. The only way, even if you were to regulate it right now, if you were to say government was to come in and just like ban it outright, it's not gonna stop. There's no stopping it. That train has already left the building.
I
It's like I
actually
was
agree
trying to
with
say
you.
earlier.
I totally agree with you. And we really screwed up, like really bad, Dustin. And here's why. We screwed up because we didn't have any contingency plan, any strategy, any failsafe set in place when we unleashed AI, when we let Pandora out of the box. Um, and now we're going to be constantly trying to play catch up. And here's the thing: AI is better, quicker, and more efficient. I don't think we ever will be able to catch up. We will never be able to catch up with policies to regulate it. And eventually, we're going to have a real Terminator type of situation on our hands.
I don't think it's gonna go that far. I don't think we're gonna have automatons running around with guns shooting people. I really don't think. I mean, if that was gonna happen, it would have happened anyway. The bigger issue that we have to deal with is the psychological ramifications. Okay, right? Like you can be influenced by your phone from AI from anywhere in the world to make stupid, irrational, or completely ill advised decisions that can change. I mean, think about the whims of some of these people. If, say, Joe Biden was to think that his son was in trouble, and all it was influence from AI, right? I mean, the second he hears his paycheck is in trouble, we declare war, and that's, I mean, that's a scary scenario right there. If you ask me, it all centers around addiction.
All right, so here's the thing: my girlfriend is a professional illustrator, and already she's confirmed herself, that job field's a ticking time bomb. And artists have said the same thing, writers have said the same thing. AI is about to undo so many jobs, including in the fast food industries. So we're not even going to have basic jobs that we've always been able to rely on, that we can take if worse comes to worse. Those jobs are even being replaced by AI. At the same time we unleashed AI, we had no failsafe put in place for if AI decided to act out. And not just like in a Terminator way, right? Like, say it doesn't ever turn against us, but we're in just 5 to 10 years, we're going to be so reliant on AI that if it malfunctions, we're going to be completely handicapped. And that's even just as scary.
The computer was brand new when they started figuring out how to organize vacuum tubes in a certain arrangement to where they could make a computation. That thing blew up faster, and the reliance was like almost instantaneous. But the thing about it is that and this is kind of where we're getting into the conspiratory. You don't have how many times in history do you see people coming up with ideas that catch like that? Right? I don't think that that was a solitary idea. I think that was a collaboration and it came from someplace else.
Hmm. Like what?
Well, like television, for example. I mean, the only way to get a box that is electronically hooked up to something into everybody's house is by pretending like there was an added benefit, right? Like number the first at first all it was meant to do was to influence. Now it's a spying technique and a two-way device. Like it's kind of crazy how fast things that we see as like insignificant turn into a major household item overnight.
Hmm.
And it kind of brings us full circle back to like the reason why the artists are striking is because, well, what's the point in putting in the effort when you can turn around and hire a computer to do it at half price or free?
Well, not just that, but be on your schedule. And really, all they would have to do is pay all of these actors like a one time extraordinary fee, like $500 million or greater even, just for their likeness, right? So they strip these actors down to nothing, and then they turn them in circles and have them do all sorts of different poses for movie scenes, and then that's the last time they'll ever have to act. AI
That
has
wouldn't
their
work.
likeness after that. Why not?
It wouldn't. Well, for two reasons. One, you're taking something. Well, how do I put this? So like you're putting a persona out there, right? Say like Robert Downey Jr. was to be stripped down by an actor and completely AI, right? And then he turns around and he drives a bus full of kids over a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anybody's going to want to invest in that image anymore? Right? Now that's number one. And number two is say something happens to the file, right? Like, are you going to pay that actor to go and redo the shoots and go through all the motions?
Well, not just that, but yes, I think they would. I think it would be worth it if you had an actor who did something outrageous or bizarre and you wanted to distance yourself, you'd have the right to just terminate the contract. You just don't use their likeness anymore. But they don't have to pay the money back. And for the last question, what was the last one? Because I had an answer for that too, Dustin.
Um, wouldn't you? Because like, what happens if the file gets damaged,
Oh, right.
right?
So
Which,
every
yeah,
few years, they're going to have to pay these actors for their likeness again, right?
no,
Because
they
you can
won't.
get,
No,
well,
no, you
that's
won't.
true. They
Not
even have aging technologies. You're right.
exactly. They do. Yeah, they don't need to do it once it's done. The only issue is if the originals become damaged, right? Because then you wouldn't
So
have anything to go back to.
I'm thinking they would make like 100 copies right away, right? And probably have them in safes in different producers' offices all around the country. I'm sure. So that I wouldn't see an issue. But if it
I
did
mean, you're going to
happen
run
and they
into a
just lost
bottleneck
the
there
whole
too,
file,
though, right? Like, I mean, there's always going to be a bottleneck because number one, when you have a certain digital quality of a picture, right, and
mm-hmm.
and technology moves on, um, what happens when, say, we end up with like a different pixel arrangement or something, and all of a sudden your lines aren't lining up in your graphics card, right?
I don't think that's an issue, dude. Look what they were able to do with like the VHS tape copy of Jurassic Park. When they put it on DVD, they went back and digitally remastered it, and not just Jurassic Park. They've done that to Star Wars, to the trilogy, all of the great old classics. They've gone back and digitally remastered, and I'm sure it'll be the same process in the future.
I don't know. I foresee the projection technology far outrunning the pixel technology of the flat screen. I foresee that being an issue in the future. They're going to have to go with a different format because we're going to end up with projection technology soon.
I think we're going to be on projection technology, but also possibly 3D technology. It's going to be very futuristic here, like real soon. I think it'll still be a flat screen, but I think it'll be to where you can walk up to your TV and look almost in it like it's a window and see a whole lot. It's going to be crazy real soon.
They've already got those VR headsets. Like they're going
I
to
well,
have to
I
do
think that's the first generation.
they're going to have to move away from screens. That's going to have to be the next thing. Like it doesn't make sense to keep screens anymore when you can take like a holographic backdrop and then project a light across it and then drop down like uh, carbon not carbon CO2 and then project on that, right? And you can give your image like texture and dimension. Like, I mean, they're gonna have to walk away from screens pretty soon.
Well,
My
it's
suspicion
no
is they'll start with like a gel.
oh. Well, if you notice too, it's no coincidence that VR and AI have dropped at the same time. And in like 10
Yeah,
years time, I know you it's unfathomable now, right? But in 10 years time, I'm telling you, almost everyone is going to walk around with a VR headset everywhere they go. They'll be married and dating to AI boyfriends and girlfriends that only exist in their head. Um, and they will not be looking around and paying attention at all to what's going around them. It'll be just like that movie Ready Player One.
I mean, it kind of already is. They do have like entire virtual workplaces. They already do.
Well, I don't think it's though the government that's going to use it to just keep eye on us. I think Satan's using it. He's going to use it to keep us not focused on the spiritual part of life. He's going to just keep us entertained 24/7 in our own little corner. And we can wear these devices with our AI and our virtual headset, and we can live in the flesh any way we want from sun up till sundown. It doesn't matter how poor we are in the real world because when we wear this headset, we'll have all of our fleshly desires.
Give them bread and circus, and they will never revolt.
Hmm. Rome.
I'm telling you. Look, there's an element to this where I see people with massive depression becoming addicted. Okay, and once it gets into the psyche like that, there's no getting rid of it. I mean, there's only compromise and then tolerance. That's it, right? Like, um, there's a reason that there's a demand for these things, right? And I mean, you could say it's a lack of God, but I think it goes further than that. I think that when you have the lack of God, then you have like anything else in nature, anything that's in like incomplete, nature detests things that are incomplete, right? They will reject it. So if you reject a key component to nature, you have to replace it because in your mind it's incomplete, and your mind is a part of nature, and it detests things that are incomplete. So you by necessity replace yourself with God, right? And that's why there's a difference between your spirit and the Holy Spirit. You there?
So the way I think it's going to work, right? I think they're going to have everybody's identity and photo and likeness in a database. And I think, say you as a single guy, you want to get a girlfriend. I think you'll be able to go into a category and see every single female individual in the database, whether they're straight or bi, whatever color, it doesn't matter. They'll have every female in the database. You can pick whichever one you want, and then AI will generate you an artificial girlfriend to that likeness.
I mean, sure. I wouldn't go for that. I couldn't. I can't. I can't stand normal people. What makes you think I can stand a computer generated one?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the
Uh-uh.
crazy thing
No.
is they'll talk bad about people who don't wear these headsets, the VRs, right? We'll be
Yeah.
the like we'll be the Amish at that point, basically. But we'll be the only ones paying attention and aware of what's going around. And I bet the world, dude, is going to be crumbling, like literally asteroids hitting, and people will be wearing their VRs and have no idea.
I mean, what at that point, ignorance is bliss.
Well, I wonder if that's how Jesus returns like a thief in the night, too, right? Because everybody's blinded by these things. All of a sudden, you just
I
hear the
mean,
trumpet sound, and you're like, what the heck?
if you have no control over the veil that you have with your own two eyes, you'll put another one over the front of it that you do have control over. And in what way is that any different than God, really? Right? We are made in His image. We do have this compensity to create. We just kind of made our own version of it. Ryan,
Hey,
Hey
what's up,
guys, happy
Ryan?
Labor Day. Happy Labor Day.
Oh, happy Labor Day, man. You having a baby?
happy,
No,
happy, happy, happy. Labor.
even though
Day,
even though
day, day, day.
society men can have babies, according to some twisted
Uh huh. Wink, wink.
people,
Yep.
including
I
yeah.
saw that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was pregnant. I saw it.
Well, then I guess it happened then.
Are you talking about Total Recall?
No, he did a movie with Danny DeVito, and he was pregnant.
Twins? He
Yeah,
wasn't
I think I
pregnant in the
vaguely
movie
remember
Twins.
that.
Yeah, no, he did. He was pregnant. Yeah,
He
he
wasn't
carried a
pregnant
baby.
in the movie Twins?
He was pregnant. I am telling you. I don't know that it was twins. I'm telling you, he
No,
was pregnant. He
the
played a pregnant
movie,
man.
the movie he
I
played
No,
with
think
no,
I
but
Danny
I'm
vaguely
gonna
remember
Google
that.
DeVito,
this.
the movie he played in with Danny DeVito is called Twins, and he was not pregnant in that movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger
Well, did
pregnant.
everybody have a good Labor Day? Did you do anything fun or special or exciting?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know today was Labor Day. Like I
Oh
went
wow.
to
The
go to
movie.
work, and then I got to
The
work, and the
movie
boss
is
called, and he's like,
Junior.
you can have today off, right? I was like, oh,
Oh yeah.
hey, great.
Well, the best
The
thing I did,
movie. The movie is. The
Junior.
movie is
Okay,
Junior.
okay, cool. Um, well, I got to meet my two little grandnephews for the first time today, and they are so adorable. And I was so happy to finally meet them for the first time. One of them is 9 years old, the other one's 5 years old. And the reason I hadn't met them up to this point, without airing too much dirty laundry, is to say that their mother, who is my sister's adopted niece, she went through a difficult time in life, and her kids had to be away from her for an extended period of time. But you know what? God is working on her. God is turning her life around, and I'm so happy to see it. She is having victory in her life now, and she is able to be with her kids again. So that is what makes our whole family very happy. And so she has four. She has two girls, I think, and two boys. And the two boys were over visiting at my mom and sister's house. And I bought a Lego set, and I got to build the 9-year-old. His name is Jason. Got to make a little Lego car with him, and it was really fun. I'm looking forward to being their great uncle. So, yeah. Hi, Missing Maud. How are you? And at Chili's, how are you?
All right, so Ryan, we were basically talking about the dangers of AI and
Oh,
different aspects of the danger. Like, for one thing, we've just released Pandora from its box. We have no contingency plans in place for if it eventually backfires on us in a very Terminator-ish type of way.
yeah.
Or we have no contingency plan for all the jobs it's going to eliminate and has already begun,
Mm-hmm.
including your job. Like, even
Well,
your job could be done with the developments they've done with like Tesla self-driving cars.
yeah. It would be very difficult. Hey, Chili's. For them to develop a robot that could do everything that I do. I mean, I'm not saying down the road it's not impossible, but
The only part I would see them struggling with is getting them mailed into the box, but I think even that they could do.
eventually, I could see it happening.
Yeah. I'm
I'm sure
not
there's
saying
already people.
tomorrow.
I'm sure that there's already people brainstorming on ways to do it. I mean, heck, there's there's uh, there's automatic burger flipping now, and automatic fry dumping, and it's it. I mean, they're trying to. I mean, and now that even writing is being controlled by AI, now you can have AI write things, write letters, write speeches, write whatever it has to write. I mean, think about the jobs that would eliminate. It says
Yeah.
Ryan is the only one who speaks to the chat. Everyone else is rude and hates viewer. Yeah, well,
Hi,
some people do.
Missing Mod. How are you? Missing Mod, you could just
Hi,
come on the
Missing Mod.
show.
I wasn't even paying attention to the chat. Come on,
Well, let me.
come on up.
I'm
No,
not either. I'm having a conversation, but everybody
well,
out there is welcome to
let
come in.
me let me
Always.
respond to Mod. I look at this StreamYard on the PC, and the chat is next to the display where we're in the room. But when I do it on my phone, I can't see the chat unless I specifically switch to it or something. So, but here I can just have it on and just look at it with my PC, because I just remember when I was forced to use my phone when my PC was in the shop. I couldn't. I had to go out of my way to see the chat. So that's one reason I think why people a lot of times don't see the chat. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, we also were talking about the AI deepfakes. Have you heard about the deepfakes, Ryan?
No, I have not.
So, like, they're able to take any girl's face now and put it on the body in a movie of a porn star. So basically, they're putting a girl's facial image on a dirty scene, and it's like really hurting reputations. And women have already been impacted by this. And we were
Oh my.
talking about how at some point they're going to have to start playing catch up, and they never will catch up because AI is so advanced with like how to protect people's likeness from AI, deep fakes, as well as a whole slew of other issues. And
By the way,
I think that's a bit of a misnomer there, though. Proverbs. There is a growing culture of people who are literally just shunning the internet altogether. I think
yeah,
I think there's going to be like if I had to say, it's probably a 50-50 split between people who are addicted and people who are sick of it.
By the way, I want to show you something. I literally just now received a text message that claims to be from the post office. But
Okay.
it's this one. Well, let me read it to you. It says the USPS package arrived at the warehouse but could not be delivered due to incomplete address information. Please confirm your address in the link. And it shows a link, and then it says press Y, then exit the text message and open again. Basically, then it says the USPS team wishes you a wonderful day. This is spam. This is not from the Postal Service. This is not a legitimate. If any of you get one like this, ignore it. Don't respond to it. So I just want to
Well,
make that
how
little
will we
PS
know, Ryan?
The post office would not send you a message like that. I just know they wouldn't.
Okay.
It's just
Fair
trust
enough.
me. I know spam when it's especially when it's from my own employer. I know spam when I see it.
So, guys, this year, when you start getting all the political flyers in your mailbox, remember Ryan knows what's up because it's his employer. So call him with your questions.
Well, I dread political season because let's say that in 2020 we would sometimes be out on the street delivering till 9:30 at night, and we still couldn't finish our routes. That's how bad the political mail was in 2020. It was horrible. And then here in Georgia, when we had that runoff, we had to deal with another month of absolute HE double hockey stick. It was awful. So I hope this coming, I really am not looking forward to political season unless I just want to make a lot of extra overtime because they really love to.
Oh, well, they're gonna smash you with the mail-in ballots. Hey, let me ask you something as a mailman. How
Yeah.
many how many mail-in ballots do you deliver to one house with the same name on it?
It very. I don't believe I've ever noticed any like that. And since I've been on my current route, it hasn't been. Well, it was political season when I first started the route because they were having a runoff between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. So I did experience a little political shenanigans during that time. I don't really remember. I didn't really pay that much attention. So
Do me a favor, make a mental note of it this time and get back to me.
Okay. I don't think I'll see it. Well, yeah, if I see it, I'll let you know, Dustin.
Well, I mean, I heard a lot about it. Like, I know that there are people who claim to have multiple ballots sent to the same location, or even
Yeah,
multiple ballots sent to multiple addresses, right? Like,
yeah. Well,
uh,
I'm watching when they start coming out. I'll watch the names and stuff because it's easier for me to catch that stuff now that I have my own route and I'm starting to learn the names of the residents on my route. I don't have them all memorized yet, but I'm getting to the point. I've probably got the majority of the residents memorized now that I've had the route the better part of a year, 10 months.
well,
It's
I
been.
mean, you're gonna know that they're mail-in ballots, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
know
think.
when those things
I
are. Yeah,
think they're in
okay.
yellow. I think they're in yellow envelope, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they come in a yellow envelope. So I'll
I
look
hope
out
they
for it.
put an end to that. I really do. I hope they put an end to that. That is such dog crap. They need to quit doing that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Has everybody
Well,
gotten
you
the
never know.
notification?
There
Did
wasn't one
Jeremiah
sent
get a
out.
notification?
There
Oh, there
wasn't one
wasn't. Well,
sent
I got
out.
a Oh, I got a
You
notification
guys
from
can
Providence.
send a notification to whoever you would like.
Yeah, I'm gonna send Jeremiah one in case he
I,
didn't get one.
I'm pretty sure I sent Jeremiah one, but feel free to send another. What
Okay.
were we talking about, guys? I had to grab a drink.
Uh, just
uh,
mail-in ballots and stuff.
Mail and how many duplicate ballots get sent to certain houses or not.
Well, hold on. Let me do this real quick, or we'll never be forgiven. LOL. See any chick with their walkers binged out yet, Ryan? Like the real kind. Conspiracy.
Yeah, well, I do have a very
Careful, Ryan.
elderly lady on my route that has
The
a
post
walker.
office always puts a slip in my mail if I need to go down there.
Yeah, it's a 3849. Yeah.
This man works for them. We are
I
addicted.
know.
There we go.
See any chick with their walkers blinged out yet? Not yet, Ron. There is a sweet elderly lady, and last time I saw her, she was about halfway to the driveway, and I went ahead and carried her mail the rest of the way because that's the kind of mailman I am. The kind of service I give my people. I know there's a lot of sorry mail carriers out there, but I want you to know that if you lived on my route, you would get good service. So just thought I'd share that. I mean,
Is
I'm
it
not
because every day you're on seminary?
Yes. Being on seminary every day is keeping me on the right track.
Let me tell you, Ryan, how long do you think it'll be, honestly, before AI has your job?
I couldn't even begin to tell you. They've automated a lot of the post office already. Most of our letter mail comes sorted by machine.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been that way for about 20 years.
That's why I kind of wondering, we've had AI since the hex reader, right? Like, artificial intelligence is not new. It's just becoming more advanced.
Yeah, Proverbs guy. The way most of us deliver our mail is out of 2 trays. One tray is mail that we have sorted ourselves in the office. The other tray is mail that comes to us already pre-sorted, and all you do is just load it into your vehicle. That's all you do. Just load it in the vehicle.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
But where does that bin come from?
It comes from a central plant. I believe ours is located in Norcross. There's like a central, and they're even in the process of getting rid of individual post offices and making several, like an entire large city or a large area, large region, be delivered out of one office. Now, I really don't want that to happen, because if it does, then that's going to force me to probably have to have a longer work commute and an even longer drive to get from the facility to my route.
Well, how far are you from retirement?
I would like to go another 10 years till I'm 65. I'd like to last that long if my health holds up, if the Lord allows it.
Didn't you get full retirement after 20 years, though, being with the federal government?
I forget it. I think it's more than you got. I think it's got to be more than that.
I thought it was 20 years. Is that just the military?
Now, keep in mind, we're not considered the same as other federal employees. We have our own retirement system and our own pay system and everything. Think of it this way. Think of the post office as being a corporation that just happens to be owned by the government. And then you can see how, even though we're federal, we really, in a way, we're not federal at the same time. You know what I mean? It's kind of a mishmash. Is this an extra show? I don't know. Is it? I thought you were coming on later, and I was getting ready to dust my room. Oh.
No, I had just been missing you guys, and Brian and the new co-host, Tyranny, with him. They wanted to take tonight off because it's a holiday, and we're going to get them set up to start next Monday. And I had just been missing everybody, so I wanted to hop on for just a little while tonight and see what everybody was up to and catch up. And Dustin and I wanted to talk about AI and the dangers of AI and where we think AI is leading us. And that's where we are now.
Okay. That sounds good. Like I said, I had a good day. I loved spending time with my grandnephews for the first time ever. And I look forward to seeing my adopted niece again soon, hopefully. And I'm just, I mean, she was in a bad way for a long time, and so we're all happy to see that the Lord is working on her now. So, um,
So the only part of your job AI would need to replace is getting the mail from the truck to the mailbox. And I feel like they could
yeah.
probably do that too.
Well, I mean, they'd have to build
Um,
a
I I I envision an army of drone bots and
robot.
landing pads. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, all they need
Well,
are the charging stations. They'd be just like seagulls.
I will say this: the post office is getting increasingly moving towards central mail delivery as opposed to individual mailboxes. Anytime a new subdivision is built, whether it's apartments, condominium, or single family, it doesn't matter. They are required to put up a central delivery location. And that's just because that's the quickest and most efficient way to deliver mail. And, that the post office is trying to save money. So they're requiring anybody who builds a subdivision now, they've got to have central delivery. And
I
in a
don't
way,
know. I don't know if I agree with like a whole subdivision, but I
yeah,
will say I totally agree with apartment complexes and deals like that. Sure, absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I know. It was weird to me when they started putting up single family subdivisions that had central mail delivery. Now there is one
Right.
upside to it. It is secure because only the person with the key to the mailbox can get into it. You don't have to worry about somebody driving by and stealing mail out of your box. That's the good thing about it. Um, but I think that probably outweighs any inconvenience if people are paranoid about their mail being stolen. Now, fortunately, with my route, I don't have to worry about that happening because my route is in a fully developed area where there's no room for them to build any more subdivisions. My route has a national park on one side of it and a high school on the other side of it. And so there's really no place. There's a few empty lots that could be built on, but that's it. There's no new subdivision. And I feel bad for some of my coworkers who are having to deal with new subdivisions being built that get thrown on their routes because then it just makes the route longer. But yeah, I'm suave and debonair. An AI cannot do what cannot be suave and debonair like I can, Mod. Thank you.
I'm just saying, man, they already have automatic driving cars. You said mail already gets sorted automatically. Really,
Mhm.
the only part of the process that they still need you there for is putting it in the mailbox. And
Well,
They
if they
really
could
don't.
find a
They
way
really
to
don't need
figure
that
that part
either.
out, that's what I'm saying. But if they implement that part, mail delivery is done too. And that'll be a sad day for America because I don't know anyone who dislikes their mailman.
um, I will say this: when I was a child living in Florida, all it will take for Ryan to be replaced is one scandal concerning postal mail. You're probably right, at Chili's. Um, I remember that we used to have to go to the post office to get our mail. I remember walking with my mom and maybe our siblings to the post office from our house in Fruitland Park, Florida.
Hmm.
And I know since that time they have put up central delivery boxes about every block, and the mail carriers will just go from block to block to block delivering to the central mailboxes, which is certainly not what we have in this area, but that's what they have in that part of Florida for whatever reason.
I'm not in my part of Florida. In Central Florida, where I'm from, you got the mailbox and the
Yeah,
individual mailbox and the
yeah.
mailman who everybody
For
knows and loves and is part of the family.
Yeah, for some reason, I do not know the reason, but in Fruitland Park, Florida, if you want to get your mail, you'll go to the corner somewhere where there's a cluster box, central delivery, and you'll get your mail there and go back to your house. It's very I don't know why it's weird. It's just that area that I know of. I don't know if maybe the post office back in the 70s or whenever it was decided to do an experiment and they decided to use Lake County as an experimental place. I don't know. It's weird.
I
Uh,
don't know. Is that a real liberal part of Florida?
Well, it's right on the back door of the villages. So
Oh man, the Villages has the highest population of senior citizen swingers
yes,
and
I
the
heard.
highest population in the state of Florida for STDs.
I have heard that. I have heard that, and I find it
True
baffling.
statistic.
I've
Yeah.
heard, it's baffling to me, but yes, I've heard that too.
Yep.
But thankfully, the First Baptist Church of Leesburg has a Village Park um, branch, and that is located right on the borderline between the Villages and Fruitland Park. And so maybe more people can start going to that church and get right with God. So anyway, so are you telling me if I drove around the Villages, I'd see a lot of upside down pineapples at people's stores or something?
I have no idea what that means.
um,
Dustin, tag, you're
I
it.
I only know what that means because I had
Okay.
a worldly friend explain it to me several years ago.
Uh-huh.
That's the only reason I know what it means.
Okay.
You know,
I
like if you're in
believe
the
you,
grocery
but
store,
Dustin doesn't.
well, if you're in the grocery store and you put a pineapple upside down in your cart, it's supposed to mean something. Not that I've ever
I
done it.
mean, it could mean that that was your first time buying a pineapple, and you didn't know which end was the bottom.
I read this story online about a couple where the woman was wearing a swimsuit that had pineapples on it. And everybody kept giving her funny looks. And people were being overly friendly, and she couldn't figure out why. What are these people acting like this? Everybody's acting weird. And then someone told her. She said, "Oh." Anyway, I guess this is a Christian show. We should change the subject, shouldn't we?
I'm not sure what kind of show this one is tonight.
Okay. Well, it should always be a
I,
Christian
I,
show.
I'm not. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. We never know.
Missing
We
mod.
don't know what guest might pop in.
Okay, missing mod. It means what Proverbs guy just got through talking about what happens in the villages.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what it means, that you're, it's supposed to be a symbol that you're one of those kind of people. That's supposed to let other people know. Oh, Christy sent me a picture.
Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Oh,
why don't you come on here and defend the Vive la France? Come talk to us. Sacre bleu, monsieur.
The Viva de France needs to answer for the guillotine, no?
Yes, yes. Mr. Claude is always talking about the very, very bad things that the American Christian has done. But never does Monsieur Claude talk about the guillotine during the French Revolution.
The French Revolution. There's a good reason why no one remembers the atrocities of France. It's because they killed each other.
Well, they took off the king's head. But then what was really screwed up is they took the queen's head too. Because they didn't know what to do with her. You couldn't just keep her in prison.
Dude, they didn't stop.
You really had to take
They
her
didn't.
head.
They didn't stop, dude. The bloodshed was insane. The bloodshed was insane. What they did in France was like it. They took the term revolution, right, and then they ate themselves. Like the revolution, like they killed the king, but then they couldn't stop because they knew that the second they stopped, the power vacuum would get filled.
It's crazy. It's crazy what mankind can do to itself when it's scared.
I know. I know. It is. There's no level of depravity. There really isn't.
Well, there is no bottom to it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
Claude did have a great American accent. Claude, come on in here, man. Hang out with us.
I mean, those catacombs. If that's any indication of how many people died, I mean, we're talking rivers of blood. They just went crazy And everybody just started killing everybody. It was nuts.
Yeah, yeah. It's let me ask you a question. Here's something that we can talk about. I know some people cannot fathom how it would be possible for someone like Jeffrey Dahmer to get saved. But I think that someone like him proves that God's grace is greater than any sin. Any sin. I mean, people like him are an example of that. And when you think
Jeffrey Dahmer had a lot to answer for, though. Just
he
because
did,
he was saved doesn't
oh, I
mean
know.
he escaped punishment.
And I'll be
No, no,
honest,
he was
I'm
killed in prison. He
I
was
don't
murdered.
I don't doubt anyone's salvation because that's
He was,
dangerous and it's none of our
yeah.
business, but man, I sure look forward to confirmation that he was saved because that is whew,
I know. I don't know. I don't even. I don't even want to think about. Uh,
the horrors.
yeah, I didn't. But when you think about it, how many deaths was King David responsible for, and that were innocent deaths?
I don't
Quite a
know.
lot.
How many
How many
people have
deaths
you
was
killed, man?
Paul responsible for? Only God knows the answer to that.
You're a
Um,
mailman. How many people have you murdered?
well, I'll have to tell you offline.
Got you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to barter my freedom with the FBI, and I just needs a patsy.
You know what? Like you said, you you once told me back in the day you did kill people in your mind, and I think we're all guilty of that. And the Bible
Oh
tells us we're
yes,
guilty of it. The
dude.
Bible tells us we're guilty.
In my not even that far in the past, dude. Like as
Hmm.
of recent, people have cut me off, and I do the things with the fingers. You squish, squish, squish the head. You squish the head. Yeah, dude, all the time.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm always mindful that I have Christian bumper stickers on my car and a Christian, well, a biblical plate on the front of my car.
So
So I try to
you
never have road rage. I haven't had road rage in a long time, to be honest. Um, so
you and I were raised different. I don't have any bumper stickers or identifying marks on my vehicles.
yeah. Well, no, it's not. I used to not either. Proverbs. I used to have very minimum stuff on my car, but I started to think that I could, as God began sanctifying me, I decided maybe I should kind of use my car as a witnessing tool to a degree.
No, dude, I
Um,
do. I really appreciate it because when they start filling the FEMA camps, I'm going to know because they're going to go after you first, and
yeah,
I'll have time to make my
they
way
will.
to the woods.
They
Yeah.
absolutely will because I don't hide it anymore. I wear, it's starting to get popular to wear Bible verse wristbands. I wear four of them
And
every
the
day.
crazy thing is even with you going to the FEMA camp first, first is last in the kingdom. So being last at the FEMA camp, I'll probably get to heaven first. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a pastor years ago who used to say, if they were to arrest you for being a Christian, would they have enough evidence to convict you? And, for many years, they would have had to try really hard to find evidence on me. But now they'll find it because I'm not ashamed of my Savior anymore. I used to be like, oh, I don't want to offend anybody. But you know what? Some people, if people are not right with God and if they're living in rebellion against God, they need to be offended. Just like I was offended. I needed to be offended in 2019. And I was offended, and I'm glad. I was betrayed by someone that I loved with all of my heart. And guess what? That's why I was betrayed, because only Jesus are we supposed to love with all of our hearts. And I had to learn that the hard way, guys and gals. I had to learn it the hard way. I had to get my heart broken. We'll soon be the only ones against LGBT RFID cards. It will be easy to get rid of us then. Yeah, you're right. Chili's, can you come in and visit with us? You sang some great things. Is it possible at Chili's to come in?
Anyone can come
At
in. And listen,
Chili's.
Mod, if you want to come in for a while, we'll keep it a small panel while you're here. Um, just let us know. But anyone is welcome to come in. There's 6 people watching, so literally anybody.
No moss.
I don't think I'm going to be doing any more than 6 guests at a time in the future. And even that will probably be rare. But that'll be whenever I get back from plant harvest season.
Okay. By the way, I may have mentioned the awesome young Colby Smith may be on my show tomorrow evening for a while.
Who?
And so he's, you know, he's another. I tell you, I don't know. Maybe everybody is different, but I mean, nothing is more heartwarming to me than a young person who loves the Lord and loves to tell people about him. It just does something for me to see that. So let's see, Missing Mod said something. Let's highlight that.
All right. Well, unless you guys have another topic to bring up, we're just going to start doing Prove Me Wrongs. All right, I'll go first. You can't be a Christian and a Democrat. Prove me wrong. Ryan.
Oh, you know what?
I mean,
You know, you say that, and it's funny because I was talking. There's a billboard in North Georgia. I could show it to you. I took a picture of in North Georgia, somewhere around, I want to say Alexandria on I-75. And it says, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. And then in big letters, it says, even Democrats. And I just think it's so funny when I see it. And I told my sister about it, and she said, yeah, but that's kind of missing politics with your faith, you know? And I said, you know, you are. And she even said, she said, my own pastor is a Democrat. And I said, how?
Exactly.
How?
And that's why, you know what, dude, I hate when people say don't mix politics and religion. And I hate when they say you don't talk about politics and don't talk about religion. Dude, why is it we can't talk about or mix the two things that affect us every single day of our lives? That's insane to me that we can't talk about them.
Well, you know, I used to have that taboo back with my old social circle.
Uh-huh.
And for instance, you know, if I started talking about my faith, then people would die. Their atheists would get offended, and you know, I think pagans would get offended, and all this. But you see, I wouldn't have done it anyway because back then is when I was double-minded. So I wouldn't have done it anyway. I would have been everything that came out of my mouth would have been hypocritical these days. But with you guys, I'm not double-minded anymore, and I can talk about the Lord. And you know, I think it's interesting that I am a Cancer because Cancer's symbol is the crab. Not that I read my horoscope.
wait. Did you
What?
say because of us you're not double-minded?
No. I said now that I'm here with you guys, I'm not double-minded.
Okay.
Not because of you, it's because of Jesus. But he brought me friends like you.
Dustin was about to fight you, bro.
Well, and he has a big mind with two eyes and a mind. No, but what I was going to say is crabs like to hide, and I used to hide, but I don't have to hide anymore because I don't have that secret room anymore. There's a song called The Secret Place, and it's about my heart is like a room with many, I forget how it goes exactly, but basically there's many rooms in my house, and Jesus comes to visit me from time to time. But there's one room, just one room, I keep the door locked. And Jesus said, it's time to go into that room now. It's a very moving song. It makes me cry when I hear it. And he says, no, Jesus, I'm not ready to visit in that room. And Jesus says, oh, yeah, you are. Let's go clean up. And so thankfully, he cleaned my room. All my rooms are clean for the most part. I try to keep them clean. Sometimes a little dirt will get in when I stumble, but I try to keep them clean. So it's a good song if you ever want to hear it. I know Michael Booth has a version of it, and the Allens, they have a live version. I don't think they've recorded it, but they have a live version on YouTube where one of the Allens is singing it. And he sings it with such feeling that you almost, it's hard for me to get through that song without crying. If I was sophisticated enough to share a YouTube link, I would share it.
So, Ryan, do you have any friends in the entertainment business?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I do have friends that are Christian singers. I don't know if is that really entertainment or is that ministering? I guess, sort of a blurry line there. I have a brother-in-law who used to be in a very big Christian rock band, but he left the band a long time ago, and the band is now disbanded.
Do you know who would be perfect to speak on this subject, Proverbs? Wesley. Put your fillers out for Wesley, and we'll see what he has to say about the writer's strike. But go ahead, Ryan, continue.
Yeah, the writers, I mean, it's getting to, I mean, these people are on the verge of losing their jobs to AI. And it's just scary. I mean, any job that, that you can make, they're starting to have AI write sermons, excuse me. They're starting to have AI write sermons, and it's just insane.
I mean, when you have probably hours and hours of Billy Graham,
yeah,
it's easy to let us, like the thing about this is like we're missing the bigger picture. It's not really artificial intelligence. It's human intelligence, but it's expanded with a lot of memory. Right? So like
AI could write
when
a Joe
we
Osteen. Sorry. I was saying
No, go ahead.
AI could write a Joe Osteen sermon and you would never know the difference. That's all I wanted to say.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing is like, it's not that it actually knows everything. It just knows all of man's knowledge.
Dustin, do you know
Yes.
that those pictures I sent you, the super secret ones?
Yeah, they're generated by AI.
100%.
Yeah.
And it put every detail I asked for.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Ryan's never going to see it coming. He's just going to wake up dead.
Oh, well, he's going to wake up with a drone asking him for keys for some reason. and then the drone's going to hand him his mail and tell him to have a nice day.
I'll have a drone give me a pink slip.
You didn't even have human connection when you got fired. They just canned you right there.
Y'all, in the South we say y'all. That way you can mean men or women or boys or girls, anybody. So that's why we say y'all in the South. How do I share a YouTube video? I want to share a song with you guys.
You have to pull up the YouTube video. However, I don't think we can share them live anymore because the last time we did that and had that musical night, it got flagged like 3 ways till Sunday.
It did that night that we started playing all those songs?
Yeah.
Well, this is a live performance, right?
Proverbs got his proverb slapped.
Well, all right. I'll tell you what. Let me just recommend to everyone to go on YouTube and watch the Secret Place performed by the Allens. It's really just one of them singing it and one of them playing it on piano, but it's still very. Let me see. Here, there you go.
Are they Republicans
I
or
can make a note of
Democrats?
that and go to it. I'm telling you, it's the kind of song. Now, I may be more emotional and tenderhearted than most people, but it's the kind of song that makes me cry because I can identify with it wholeheartedly. I can identify with that song. So anyway, yeah, we'll just do it that way.
I totally misread that, dude. It's The Secret Place, performed
Yes.
by the Allens. I
Yes.
thought I looked at it really briefly, and I thought it was The Secret Police.
They're coming for us. They're coming for us. We're talking about AI. The AI is sending the secret police after us. Oh, goodness.
Well, that's the thing, though, dude. AI can now be used to do facial recognition. They'll
Yeah.
be able to find anyone they're looking for in an instant, as long as they're using technology of any kind.
Yeah.
Well, that's provided they haven't put something over the camera.
Yeah. I mean, that's why in 2020 everybody was wearing a mask. I think some people actually were glad that they could hide behind a mask. And there were days when
You'd
I
be
wanted to.
surprised. You'd be surprised the kind of things you can do when you don't have to look at yourself in the mirror.
Well, the
I don't
first
have to
half,
pay today.
the first half of that whole thing, I refused to wear the mask, and then
Yeah.
the second half of it, I wore it every time I was supposed to. And the reason is I figured out about halfway through that it would be a perfect test run for them to use facial recognition and identify rebellious citizens.
Yeah.
And once it hit me, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, let me pretend to conform immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have ways of weeding out the dissidents.
It's funny. One of my grandnephews looks so much like a boy version of a coworker that I have. It's like every time I looked at him, I would see that coworker. It's just so weird. It's like I can't. His name is Jace Young. It's like I can't look at him without seeing. Like he looks like my coworker would have looked when he was 9. It's just kind of strange.
So I was telling
I believe they call that.
a
I believe they
doppelganger.
call that displacement. No, displacement.
And
Yeah, displacement, where like you substitute like somebody who looks like somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason you do that is because it gives you a level of comfort.
Well, I mean, no, I didn't think he was my coworker at the age of 9. I mean, I knew he was a different person, but I was just saying he looked like him.
Dustin, I think what you're describing is gender dysphoria.
No, that's not the same thing. I don't presume that he thinks his gender is wrong. I presume that he holds on to memories from the past and he plasters them over people with a certain facial structure because it gives him comfort on a certain level.
Okay, Dr. Buck. I'll keep that in mind. I'll consider
Okay.
that.
And is this your opinion as a colonizing Caucasian male patriarch? I can't even get through it, guys. So many
That's
different
not
reasons to
necessarily that's Sigmund Freud's opinion. I just happen to remember it.
He introduced a lot of concepts that ended up that were very unbiblical ways of looking at human psychology and stuff, and especially when it came to human sexuality. A lot of this Freudian stuff is unbiblical, and I'm learning that from reading Christopher Yuan and stuff like that. I'm learning that the Bible did not have these notions of heterosexuality, homosexuality, and bisexuality. The Bible did not have those notions. It just said,
No, but it dealt with them on a couple of levels.
Yeah. It did say this type of activity is sinful, but it did not place a label on it. It did not place, it just said men defiling themselves with mankind, that kind of thing.
Well,
In
that's
other
because
words,
homosexuality in the Bible was always considered an act.
yes, absolutely. And see, people have turned it into an identity, which I was guilty of doing. I was, but I don't do that now. That's why my theme song is on my show is "This is who I am." This is who I am. I'm a child of God. That's my identity. That other thing
Right.
was not. That was a false identity, and I no longer subscribe to that false identity. So, but yeah, but Sigmund Freud is the one who put a label on that activity and turned it into an actual identity.
I'll be honest,
And I
I
had,
think Freud was the biggest fraud. I don't respect him on
yeah,
any level, and I
yeah,
think
I
he
don't
was a
even.
total crackpot, cocaine addict,
Hmm.
binging lunatic. I don't
Hmm.
see how we have.
I,
I don't see how any scientific mind could validate a word that came out of that drug addict's mouth.
I know.
As soon as
because
he went on to how boys fantasize sexually about their mothers, they should have said, "This guy is mentally ill, and he should have
Yeah,
spent the remainder of his days in some sort of facility with padded walls."
yeah,
look,
I know.
a lot of what he was said was taken out of context and misquoted too. Okay?
Mm.
All right, there was I'm not saying what you're saying doesn't make sense, okay? I'm saying that his issues were greatly magnified, all right, in light of a lot of the other things that he said that actually did make sense. Okay? I'm sorry that the man still has diagnoses that are in DSMs today.
I can distinctly remember back in the day reading a book by a Christian, speaking against homosexuality, and he said it's a behavior, it's an act, and I remember thinking immediately, and my response was, "No, it's who I am. I can't. It's who I am. It's my." And now I realize how wrong I was back then. I've had to unlearn things that I told myself in the past, or things that other people told me that I believed.
Well, right. That's trying to make an action into an identity, right?
Yes,
So that's like
yes,
saying I'm a walker because I walk. Walking is an action, and now that's my identity. Or
yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
yeller. I identify as a yeller because I yell, and that is an action, and I identify that way. It's absurd.
It is. It is absurd. It really
Hello,
is.
French Linnerman,
Hello, French
Claude
letterman Clark
Bowles.
Bowles. Bowles.
Bonsoir.
Oh, here we go.
Bonsoir.
Yes, it's Bowles.
Hello,
Okay, I'll
Monsieur
do that.
Sacre Bleu. How are you today?
Uh, a little bit mad, but I'm okay.
Hey,
Interesting
why are you mad?
conversation. Yeah.
What's got you upset, Claude?
Oh, nothing. Just you know, just thought I'd call. I hear you talk about the man, the Freud man.
Yeah.
You are Jew.
Sigmund Freud.
He's a Jewish man too, so normally quite intelligent.
Well, yeah, I would say that that's common. I think
Mm,
statistically, Jews are
Yeah.
brilliant people.
Well,
mm.
intelligent people can also be extremely deceived people.
I mean,
Yeah, you can be extremely intelligent and also extremely wrong.
yeah,
Yes, you sure can.
many of the thing he go too far, but some are right. He come up with the term hysterical for the women. Hysteria. It where it, it where the word hysterectomy come from that. Hysteria.
Oh, you're
Only
right. Okay, so he was also sexist.
uh, well, quite, but yeah, hey, he probably French too.
Bro,
We are very
i- if you
sexist
think
people.
that if you think that him being sexist, he knew. Well, I'm not gonna go there anyway.
But
Not gonna go
many
there.
of the thing, like the man get to 50, 60 year old, he buy that sports car with the long what we say bonnet, but you say hood, the long
Midlife
hood.
crisis.
Yeah, yes, because it represents the wiener, and guess the guy, some guy in America ride around in the truck, never need a truck, live in the suburb, but maybe another crisis. You have some interesting points.
The man made a lot of correlations, right? But he never really just explained them. Like that was the issue that Sigmund Freud had, and that was a lot of the reason why his peers shunned his work, because he only made correlations and he never really tied them together.
Yeah, well, it's getting very complicated, and I mean, we would have to read. He's written so many things. You have to read and read and read too much.
Yeah, I want to make
Yeah,
a
but
quick phone call.
almost everything he wrote always boils down to the same thing, though. It always led to
Oh,
this
okay.
is something sexual.
Yes, yeah, he does, and maybe he right on some things and wrong on others. Yeah, but
I mean, look, if it go ahead, Claude.
the sex, you can trace back many things can be influenced by it, and you know the drive of the man to have sex with the woman has a lot to answer for.
Well, I mean, I believe that's
It's
because we were commanded to be fruitful and multiply, so that's just written into our DNA.
Yeah, so
well, no,
we all
actually,
know your Mr. Carter. He say one time he has lusted. He has lusted in his heart. Well, every man has lusted in his heart.
That's true. Yeah.
and that's the one thing that makes sense about Sigmund Freud is that, well, in my opinion, he worshipped Gaia, the mother goddess, right?
No, I don't.
And in
There
your
I don't
was,
think he
opinion,
was
that's the
gay.
one thing you agree with?
I don't think he
huh?
was gay. He
No,
was not a.
not gay, Claude.
Uh,
Gaia. Gaia.
Gaia,
Oh,
the female goddess,
oh, okay.
right? I think he was a secret. I think he was a secret Gaia, like a secret Gaia worshiper,
Oh,
the fertility
Interesting.
goddess.
Why do you say that?
Well, it would make sense because most of his psychological deductions revolved around sex. I mean, usually a lot of these psychological breakthroughs involve religions, right? They do. Like the Spanish Inquisition revealed a lot about like human nature.
uh, hmm. What they when they the Inquisition they test people for being the witch or for being doing sex things.
Wait, actually,
Well, the Inquisition.
I would like to ask Claude a
Go,
question.
Okay?
Claude, are you. Well, let me ask you a question before my question. Are you really French? I believe you
Of
are.
course,
Okay.
I am, but I have the funny. My family. We have many branch. We have the German Ball family because even my great grandmother was English because people cross the channel between England and France. I have a mini mix. People in Europe often have a different branch to their family. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm quite good at the English, and
No. You are. You're very good with English. My question though is, as an actual Frenchman,
yeah.
what is the French Revolution all about? Why did you guys just roll over and chop your king's head off one day?
Oh, it was a struggle of the people to take control of the excesses of the monarchy. The king living in the palace. People like if you history go back to Mary
Hey, you
Antoinette.
sound really distant, Claude.
Oh, sorry.
well,
You have
yeah,
the king
you're gonna
in a
have to go
palace.
back right to the beginning and start all over, man. We
Yeah,
couldn't
will you
hear a word
repeat
you were
that?
saying.
Will you repeat it,
Oh,
Claude?
sorry. Yes. So the revolution start with the people uprising against the establishment. The king, the queen live in the opulent surrounding, and the people hungry for food, and so they revolt. And then, of course, the reaction from the government against that, the head chopping off, the various different sides of their heads chopped off, and the guillotine, and it was a time of the terror. the terror, because like in many things, you never know when the knock on the door come for you. So an inspector of the law could come up to the door of your house and take you away. So, in the end, I think it bring the democracy to France. So, long term, it was good. A bit like the America fight against the English for control of the country. That's
No,
what.
I'm sorry. It
Huh?
wasn't the same. There was a few differences, but like
Yes,
like the
it's earlier.
revolution started eating themselves.
Oh,
That's true. You can't deny it, Claude.
eating themselves.
They started guillotining each other because of the vacuum, the power vacuum.
You, yeah. Of course, the famous musical. What's that musical about the French Revolution?
Fiddler on the Roof.
It's better. No, 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 no. Very good. Ah,
Seven brides for seven brothers.
no, Les Miserables. Les Miserables. Yeah. It's looked to you like Les Miserables. You know that one? Les Miserables. That's
That
set in the
sounds familiar.
Revolution. That's very popular. And
Yeah.
I dreamed a dream of time gone by. Da, 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 da.
Everybody welcome Heart of Flesh. Heart of Flesh, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
I
we
don't
hear
know.
you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Okay, I don't see an icon, so I know if my volume is too high compared to yours.
No, your volume is very
You're good.
appropriate and it sounds very good. My
Okay.
I am a little baffled as to why your photo is like blue.
Okay, maybe that's because I just set up, so it will take me a second to add a picture.
You're fine. Okay.
I'm
For now, we shall refer to you as the Phantom of the Opera.
really.
Well, yeah, who are you? Tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from real far away from you all, from
Okay.
y'all, as you said earlier, from y'all.
I
Uh,
would say the Netherlands
Holland.
from the accent.
okay, I can keep this a secret until you figure it out from the accent. How about that?
Well, from the accent, I
Ukraine.
really think I
Oh
don't
God,
think it's Ukraine.
no, no, and don't say that keyword.
No, I'm telling you, it's Dutch or it is Netherlands.
Okay, it's in Europe. It's in Europe.
Uh,
I'm in Greece,
oh.
and
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I am
hmm.
I'm your friend from the chat. But
Oh, Archilio,
yes,
you
which is
made it.
yes, and this is my name is pronounced Achilles.
Achilles. I'm
Achilles.
sorry.
Yeah, Achilles. Yeah.
Oh, okay, just helping you
Achilles.
pronounce.
That actually, well, in my defense, I was homeschooled for the majority of my life, so don't hold it against me.
Oh no, no,
Excellent.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I have actually spent a long time compared to others in the U.S. and I've heard different ways to pronounce my name. One of them said, "I know how to pronounce it. I couldn't care less." I was like,
Oh,
"Okay,
that's
awesome."
rude.
Yes, it was. I lived in LA for 18 months. I was supposed to stay there for longer, but I couldn't take it.
Mm.
So I made some arrangements to come back because it was a little bit too uh, LGBTQ for me.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
people over there have this mentality that whatever the problem is, you now made it. You're in California. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, it's done, whatever. I'm like, dude, the world is burning up. No, you're here now. It's all over. You're here. You made it. I'm like, what? And there is this weird mentality that I call the goofy planet. For me, California is the goofy planet.
Yes.
It It's outside this planet, and they're in their own world.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
that's the way we describe it too.
I have them in my heart. It's like a second home to me, and your hospitality really helped up a lot. But anyway, it's still Cali. It was LA. That means it wasn't San Francisco.
Yeah.
Thank God. But
Right.
it was still weird for me, for a Greek.
By the way, you sent me an email, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
a very long but very touching email, and I want you to know I did read it
Okay, good,
from
because I
start to
didn't.
finish, and I even started replying to it, but it was so long, it's taking me a very long time to get to all of your points.
Okay, yeah, I'm weird like that. I can type a lot, I can speak a lot, and this was a short email. Trust me.
Well, okay, so I have ADHD. So I have like these 10 to 15-minute windows where I have an attention span,
Oh
and then
yeah.
after that, I have to shift to something else, and then eventually I'll remember to get back to it, and I'll work on it again for another 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, maybe then I get a reply in like a month. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll make it a priority. I'll get back to you on it.
It's okay. Actually, there are so many things that I would want to talk about. And I know this is not the appropriate show because it wasn't planned, but I got invited from Ryan. What's up, Ryan, and the rest? And so, so I joined today, but I wouldn't know where to start, what to talk about.
I was gonna say, man. I mean, you're a special guest from the land of Greece. Uh, let's
Yeah.
definitely, let's definitely see what's on your heart. Like, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, first off, I completely agree with what you said about Freud.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
he completely transformed our society into whatever we are facing today. There is a documentary out there, long time ago documentary. Let me see, is this a good picture? You like this picture? I'm just looking at my pictures. Let me see if it loads at some point. Anyway, uh, let me see what's the name of that documentary for a sec about Freud. Uh, I got it without even typing it. I remembered. Century of the Self.
Century of the Self.
Yes, and it speaks on how his daughter and his nephew continued his work by going to all the companies and explaining to them how our subconscious works and how they should advertise to us. So he's in fact the father of all the advertisement that you see out there today. Now, I don't know if he was a Gaia
Yes,
worshiper. I don't know if he was a
yes,
Gaia.
yes, I agree.
Yeah. I actually hate his work because he, whatever is your problem, it relates to your mother.
Mm.
It's like if you kill a deer with your car, you wanted to have sex with it. Uh,
Right.
Can I make
Everything.
a can I make a quick comment? I hate to cut in here, but you keep
Hello,
going
Father.
now.
Hello,
Hi, how
Father
you
Charles.
doing? I'll be very
Hello.
quick. Modern psychiatry has dismissed most of Freud's teachings.
Um, yes,
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
but
absolutely.
do you
He's a
see it
has
go?
been.
But as a man of religion and an Orthodox priest, do you see psychiatry going the right way by completely ignoring God and telling everybody that you're just alone and you should accept and love yourself, whatever you are? Is this the right way to approach problems?
It
Because I think,
depends who in psychiatry you talk to.
okay, yeah, but we have arrived at a place today where uh, they will tell you that you should be accepting yourself, whatever the society thinks of you. And if you feel gay, then it's good, it's okay. If you feel you are Barbara Streisand, then all right. We are at this point. I'm not saying this is how psychiatry should work, but this is where we have arrived right now. People are going to doctors. I will call them doctors, and they are telling them that what the society thinks of you does not relate to anything, and you should feel good with yourself.
I
Yeah,
would
but
agree. I would agree that would be the majority. However,
what if?
that's why you have to be picky when you're picking your doctors,
But when
especially
you
if you
have
need to see a psychiatrist or psychologist.
so somebody I would suggest instead of Freud, who was actually saying that I don't deal with Freud because I don't believe in demons, but if there are demons out there, then Freud is full of them. This one was Carl Jung,
They are
and,
there.
and I completely have respect for Carl Jung, even though he was not religious either. But still, he was not so sex oriented. Okay, enough about Freud. I don't know,
Are
unless
any
you
of
want to
his
say something.
methods recognized or in use today?
No,
No.
they've been dismissed. Google it. Don't trust
Okay.
my word. Google
Oh,
Freud, and if modern
No, I
psychiatry.
didn't mean Freud. I meant the fellow that Achilles brought up.
Oh, I'm
Carl
sorry. Yeah.
Carl Jung.
Yeah.
There is some part of his work has been continued. He actually said that we are all separated in 16 categories, which are they all relate to 4 values that have 2 sides each. So it's 4 values and multiplied by 4 because it's the opposing side. So with that, you get 16 personalities. And this is something that when I was in the university, we had to pay to have the test done. It's a human resources test, and it's called the MBTI. There are a couple of websites that you can do it for free right now, and I recommend it to everyone. It was one of the biggest transformations in my life before getting saved, because getting saved was the greatest transformation in life. That's nothing compared. Uh, why is everybody muted? Do you mute?
We're
Okay.
just listening to you.
Okay. I thought I got a message here that I need to sign in again. So
Oh, who
I'm
told
going to
you
run to
that?
Publix real quick, but I'll be back hopefully within 30 minutes.
All right, Ryan. We'll see
Okay,
you
Ryan.
then. And pick me up a public sub with roast beef.
You know, it's funny. I've gotten a lot of food from there, but I've never actually had to make me a public sub because there's always a line and I just don't want to wait.
It's worth
Maybe
it, Ryan.
I know it should be worth it. Probably is worth it. I just grab
Salt,
something that's
pepper,
already
oil,
been.
vinegar.
Will you give your order to AI?
One day I'm going to make myself wait in line and get a sub.
When I was in the States, a girl would take my order in McDonald's. But now that AI is replacing people, I would definitely mess with it. I would definitely try to mess it up.
Were you only in California? Did you come to the South?
I did pass through the border and visited Mexico, but I got stuck up at the border, and they were telling me that the terrorists that took the towers down came from here, so I got stuck there for like 3 hours.
You know, you do have a terrorist-esque accent.
Right? Everybody that has an accent is a potential terrorist for the United States.
Dude, no, it's not just that. Even Americans are potential terrorists for the United States now.
Nowadays,
don't feel
yes.
bad.
Oh yeah. I told that cop that if I was a terrorist, I would probably come from Canada. I don't know. It just looked a little easier.
And that makes perfect sense because I have never trusted Canada.
There is no border there. There are just some signs saying welcome. There's nothing.
Yeah, right. Nothing.
But the terrorists are like, I don't know, stupid. They all come from Mexico. I don't know.
Well, not
I
just
don't.
that, but I'm pretty sure isn't our northern border longer than our southern border?
Much longer.
Yeah. So it's longer and it's less secure. So you're right, dude. Anyone with intelligence at all as a terrorist or a threat to the US is going to come through Canada.
I don't know. It's what goes way back now, but I should tell that guy. I mean, I have friends that agree, but I got stuck there for hours. He didn't think that my university paper was enough to let me back in the country. He was looking for box cutters,
Wow.
if you know what I mean.
Thank God you weren't opening packages that day.
Yeah, I imagine.
You would still be in Gitmo to this day.
I know. Oh my God.
Oh.
So let me steer up the conversation a little bit since Father Charles joined.
Yeah, get Chuck, Claude, and Rex in the conversation. And Dustin,
Hello,
too.
hello everyone. I'm so sorry for this.
How's it going?
I will try to change the picture while everybody's saying hi. Hello everyone.
Claude and Rex, are
How
you guys
goes
still
it?
with us?
Yeah, I have a question for Father Charles. I was listening to a debate online today, and it talked about something called the sacred flame, and it's somehow related to the Orthodox Church. Do you know what they're talking about?
I do.
The sacred flame.
Yeah, is this a thing? I heard a guy criticizing it, so I don't really know what it's about. I only kind of got the gist from the criticism.
The only sacred.
I might be
Someone's
saying the
blowing
wrong
up my
word.
phone.
That's something
They've
to do with
heard
like
that you're on the Proverbs Guy show, Pastor, and they're out for you.
What's that? I'm sorry.
The word got out to the atheists that you're on the Proverbs Guy Ministry channel, and they are furious. They're coming to shake you down.
Let me see who's blowing up the phone. Hang on.
How much do
Okay.
you want to bet it's Aiden?
Question.
The phone always rings at the wrong time, eh? the old phone. It is so helpful, but it's such a nuisance sometimes.
I got the name wrong. It's called Holy Fire, not Sacred Flame. My bad. Holy Fire.
Holy fire is the Holy Spirit.
Okay, I think what the guys are referring to is the so-called miracle that's happening every Easter in Jerusalem.
Correct.
So even as a, let me just state that I am supposedly an Orthodox, as I am.
Supposedly.
I'm saying supposedly because I've been having a lot of issues with Orthodoxy, and I have a channel which has been uploading videos trying to get people saved because we are in the end times, and Orthodoxy is not helping. So at the end, after many years that I've been doing this, I have turned around and I am attacking Orthodoxy because I believe they are sending people to the completely wrong way. And there are only two ways. There is the way of the truth that leads to Jesus, and there is the way of the lies that leads to Satan. We have the specific verses that we should understand this from those. Satan is the father of lies, and Jesus is the truth. You cannot arrive to the truth with lies, and you cannot go to the lies by discovering truths. So it's two ways. And if you have something like the Vatican, which is what Orthodoxy is, praising Mary and not accepting the rebirth, and saying that 70% of the Bible is metaphorical. And if you have any questions, come and ask us. And don't read the Bible, because I don't know where you are, Father Charles. I can guarantee that here in Greece, You're not supposed to read your own Bible, because you should only be you should have somebody that they call a spiritual father, and he will explain it to you, because you are not blessed enough to understand it, and you're gonna make mistakes because you have the spirit of Satan inside you. So I visited monasteries. I got myself in the Mount Athos, which is the most sacred place for Orthodoxy. And in there, not only would I ask questions, but there were people having questions. And as I was trying to answer the questions they had, the priests were silencing me, and they were telling me, "You do not get to talk." I'm like, okay, but the answer you're giving him is not the right answer. You next time you talk, you're out of here. So I don't know if you understand from what I've said already. I didn't stay in there for a long time. I just stayed for some hours, and I did get out of there. So we are very close. People think that the tribulation is beginning soon. I disagree. The tribulation has already begun, and the rapture is very close. I don't consider myself a prophet to know when, but the Bible is giving us a very clear time frame. Daniel does. And according to that time frame, you cannot know when it begins if you don't discover who the Antichrist is and if he did sign a pact with Israel. When he signs a pact with Israel, you start counting 7 years. In 3.5, something will happen called the abomination of desolation. And then we have 3.5 more years.
The abomination of desolation has already occurred.
I agree. It has.
Do you know when it occurred?
I didn't catch that. If I know.
Do you know when it occurred?
I'm not sure I can. I'm hearing
70
this.
AD.
My guess. The destruction of the temple.
Who caused the abomination of desolation in 70 AD?
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I disagree with that. I'm saying that it happened in 2020, because it also says that they will stop. Daniel says, I don't remember how it is in English, but the sacrifice in the temple will cease. And right
Sure did in 70 AD.
Okay, this is a theory.
Do you know what happened in 70 AD?
No, but I know the theory.
The Roman Empire destroyed the temple and most of Jerusalem.
So are we calling Daniel somehow being mistaken that this will happen on the end times? Because I think 70
well, you
AD.
Have to understand, Daniel.
70 AD.
To come up with your theory, you have to put a big gap theory in Daniel.
No, I don't. I'm saying that we are.
Do.
I'm saying, Father, I'm saying that we are going through the end times right now, not in 70 AD. So if you go to my channel, which my friends here are going to tell you which one it is, because I'm going through a VPN right now and it's a little bit weird. I have a theory.
I posted your link in the private chat, but also in the comments section.
Thank you. I have a theory who the Antichrist is. And when I figured out that it's him, for some reasons, I started counting days. And in exactly 3.5 years from his appearance, the abomination of desolation happened.
Do you know who they thought the Antichrist was in early Christianity in the Roman Empire? Nero.
Okay, I heard of that.
So they must have been wrong.
They must have. I agree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that in scriptures we have oftentimes things happening in sequences of three. There's a Holy Trinity throughout scriptures from beginning to end, and I do think the same thing applies with, say, like the abomination of desolation. I do believe that there's another one coming in an actual Antichrist figure, but I believe it also happened before in 70 A.D.
Okay. In a similar, my response to that is that there are a lot of things that we can interpret.
Well,
Sorry.
if you don't mind, my question for you is you said you do believe that the abomination of desolation that Daniel spoke of has happened in 2020?
Yep.
If you don't mind, could you fill us in as to what that was, the abomination
Yes.
of desolation?
Yes. So Daniel is telling us that this will happen in Jerusalem. But if you translate the Hebrew word, Jerusalem means holy city. Jerusalem, according to the separation
Did I hear that correct? Did you just say that one more time? I'm sorry. I must have misheard you.
Okay, I said that Jerusalem means the holy city.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I thought I heard something else.
All right, Dustin.
Okay. I love the. Yeah, I don't know. Live on. Anyway, so first off, I didn't arrive to this by a theory. And this is very important. There is a difference between theorizing something and observing it. So there are things that are happening, and then I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh, I see. It's not like I'm theorizing and then I'm bringing facts where I want them to go. I just see something happen, and that makes me think, how come I didn't understand it earlier? So what I did wrong, and I think a lot of people do too, is that that the meaning of the word is the holy city, and according to the New Testament, Jerusalem is not a holy city. Jerusalem did reject Jesus. There is one city on this earth that was created in his name. Can anyone guess which one that is?
A city? Well, it would be the capital of the United States, but when it was dedicated to
Washington.
God, it was New York.
New York.
Okay, well, it's funny you said Washington, because have you checked the map of Washington, how it is an upside down pentagram, the roads? And
I have heard that, yes.
And they lead to the White House.
I have heard that, yes.
So I don't think Daniel meant that one. So in Constantinople, which you know as Istanbul, right when I expected something to happen, and I just had my eyes open, Erdogan recreated something which was the fall of Constantinople and him turning it into Istanbul. By the way, Istanbul is a Turkish name for the words Istin Polin, which actually means to the city. This is the Greek way of saying to the city. Where are you going? To the city. So he took that to the city and he turned it into a name. Istanbul actually means to the city. Just that was a tip of the day kind of information. But anyway, so he made a visual in May of 2020 that he brought up the walls and he tore them down again. He said that that was an anniversary of the 567th year after the fall that happened in 1453. Now, when I make anniversaries on something, I try to do them on round numbers. like on 50, 100, 200, 500. On 5, 6, 7, that's a weird year to make an anniversary. The funny thing about that is that there was no one there to see it because Istanbul was under a quarantine. So it was desolate. Now, Daniel and the rest of the prophets have written things that we are the ones that we should examine them again and again and again. The word is God divinely inspired, and we are not. So we should be re-examining our theories according to the words spoken. And according to Orthodoxy, I'm not supposed to do that. I should ask priests what they think, and they would tell me what Father Charles told me. And I pause here, so if I see Father Charles wants to speak.
Well, I was just going to ask you a question, Heart of Flesh.
Yeah.
Where did you get this revelation of yours?
It's funny. I'm not saying God inspired me. I will say that God gave me a new life. I am a reborn, and I am, since 2016, I am 7 years old right now. My old self went up to 30 years old. Now I'm 7 in Christ. So what happened is that I read online that a potential Antichrist is that guy. So I laughed. I found it hilarious. And I moved on with my life. But then 6 months later, there was a statue that was placed in Detroit, I think, in the United States, or Dallas, in Dallas, which was the Baphomet. So that was very weird for me because up until that time, which was 2015, you wouldn't just install the statue of Satan. Things were a little bit. Today, everybody gets the right to go install whatever the F they want to install. But back then in 2015, when I heard the news that they installed this statue, I got shocked. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm hoping that this world is going to get better. What? People are installing statues like that? And immediately, the satanic church, let's in quotes, they call themselves the satanic church. They said that the next one of those statues will be installed in a specific place, which is in another country, and it's in the country that this guy that I'm talking about was. So I said, wait a minute, that's funny. So let me see something. Where was the statue installed? The statue was installed on the 25th of the seventh month of 2015. So I was like, okay, let's see when the guy was elected as a president of the country. And I looked it up, and he was elected on the 25th of the first of the same year, which was exactly 6 months. I'm like, oh my God, this looks weird. So I told people that I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in another 6 months. Note, it was not one day before, not one day after. It was the specific day, 6 months later. So I found that weird. That's all the revelation I had until that point, finding it weird. So I waited for another 6 months, and on the 25th of January of 2016, a series premiered in the United States. Can you guess which one? I guess not. So sorry for
The Office.
Good one. Good one, because I gave you like an option of too many things to choose from, and that was the best one you could give me. Uh, I'm saying that intelligence is measured in sense of humor, brother. So +1 for your intelligence. So Lucifer.
Oh, no way.
So at that point, I said, okay, you know what? We have 6 more months till the World War. I believed a world war was coming on the third 6. And I started believing that it's this guy. So World War didn't arrive. But what he did is, on the specific date, which was the third 6, he changed the constitution of the country he was running, and he took the term Orthodoxy from the name of the country. So that country right now is being called a neutral religion country. That allowed for Muslims to have the same rights with the Christians of that country. He also passed laws for gay marriages.
Who?
So right around there, I started reading more. And later on, I visited Mount Athos to talk about this, and they wouldn't want to listen. But after reading, I realized that Jesus, through Matthew, is telling us that in the end times, there will be false prophets. And this is where we stop reading, that at the end times, there will be false prophets. The verse is, I think, 16, 6 or 7. Let me check it out. Because there's something there is very important, and we humans consider ourselves divine and not a word. So what we think is right, it's done. We don't examine it again, reflecting it with a divine word. So yeah, the verse is Matthew 5:15, where it says, "Beware of false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves." And that's where
Am
we
I a
stop.
ravenous wolf?
No, brother. I've actually heard you a lot of times, and you're not. I do disagree with some things you are saying, but I understand that they have enforced a lot of opinions on you, as they had enforced them upon me. So I'm not judging anyone, but I am calling everyone to be a little bit more observant to the word. And Orthodoxy is guilty of not observing the word. For me, Orthodoxy is exactly what Israel used to be in the Old Testament.
Can I chime in for a second? When you say Orthodoxy, it sounds like I'm hearing the word the Catholic Church. Is that what you're meaning? Or are you meaning the Orthodox Church that Father Charles is part of?
The symbol of Orthodoxy is a double-headed eagle.
By the way, I'm ordained Russian Orthodox.
You are a Russian Orthodox. Did I hear that right?
You did.
Okay. So responding to, I think Stephen is your name? Proverbs guy
is fine, but yeah, okay.
Stephen. So the symbol of Orthodoxy is the double-headed eagle. And after Jesus, we had the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church, and it's like the same eagle with 2 heads. There is this schism between the 2 churches, but now without seeing the Pope rolling back on the things he believes, Orthodoxy has accepted him. We have hugged him, they kiss each other, and the schism is in the books, in quotes. Like they're pushing the world into a one world religion.
No, we will never submit to Rome.
Well,
we will consider Rome as a brother, but we will never submit to the Pope. Sad.
Why is he a brother?
That is what keeps us away. That's why that's why we divorced in 1054. There were other reasons, but the big reason was the papacy.
Why do you call him a brother?
I'm in Christian fellowship. That's all I'm saying.
What Christian? What I mean, I can see some Christianity in Orthodoxy. I can see that, but I can see Christianity in Catholics.
Instead of calling Rome the Great Whore and all this other stuff. Rome has its problems, but that's for another discussion. But to show Christian charity to the Roman Catholic Church is not a sin.
It's not a sin, but I think
we have not joined together. We have had talks with each other. We will never join as long as there's a papacy.
I agree, but Bartholomew has accepted him, and he didn't ask anyone.
As the Bishop of Rome, Bartholomew has accepted him.
Let each other finish out all their thoughts before we respond.
I'm hearing you, Father Charles, but I agree with you too. But Bartholomew has accepted him,
as the Bishop of Rome,
Pastor,
not as the Pope.
Please let him finish his thought.
The thing is that nobody nobody agrees with Bartholomew accepting him and hugging him and kissing him in the cheeks and hugging and showing a symbol towards the whole world that we are brothers. We are not brothers with Satan.
Should we burn him at the stake then?
No, but we should completely be. I am a little bit radical, and let me explain what I mean. I mean that if you are not looking at Satan in his eyes, like against each other, then you are siding with him. There is no middle ground. That's how radical I am. And according to the Bible, there would be the Antichrist and his false prophet. So if you ask me, I'm just nobody. Okay, just an opinion of nobody. I'm not a bishop. I don't work for the church, so you don't even have to take my opinion seriously. But my opinion is that he is the false prophet. How can we accept him as a Christian? Because they're doing charities?
Well, I have a lot of problems with Pope Francis, okay?
Good.
Lot of problems.
I'm with you.
But I don't claim to be God. And I cannot look into his heart. And I cannot tell you where he's going when he draws his last breath. Can you?
Well, you're talking about the person. I'm not talking about the person. I'm talking about the institution of the Pope, who is supposedly the representative of God on earth. Because here's something that I realized through things that I've been reading of the past years. The word anti has two meanings. Everybody understands only one meaning. If you send me to the bank with a paper that says I am sending him in my name, the word anti covers that. It means I am anti you. I am in place of you. And there is the other meaning of anti, which is against you. We have two antichrists. We have the one that is against Jesus, and we have the one who is in place of Jesus. He is replacing the Son of God. The one is replacing him. He's wearing a white robe, and the other one is against him.
Which one's against him? I'm a little confused. And then the guy dressed in white was easy, but who's against him?
The other one keeps getting dressed in black.
Yeah, we do wear black, unfortunately.
No. It's not. He's not a priest. I'm talking about the one that I started talking about
You're talking
earlier.
about Bartholomew.
No, the Antichrist. He has been a president of a country.
Oh. Well, so, you going to reveal him to me?
Actually, if you go to the channel, there is a description that says where to start. If one is interested enough and they start there, they will know him immediately. I do it at the beginning of the first video. So there is no reason to just have it on a video that is going to be stored and staying here forever. Let me just say that, let me go back to the verse. It's important. It says, Matthew 7:15 continues, surprise, surprise, and it continues to verse 16. And it says, by their fruit, you will recognize them. So if we go to 1 John 4:2, it tells us what the fruit is. And I'm reading. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. So every spirit that doesn't, it's not from God. And if I go one verse earlier to, it says to 1, beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out in the world. By this, you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. I was pretty sure it says the word fruit, and I think it might be on the next verse. I'm on 3. Let me go on 4.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, please.
So, do you believe 1 billion Roman Catholics who inhabit this planet now, and approximately 6 million Orthodox Christians, are they down for hell?
This is where I use what you said. I'm not God. I'm not into people's hearts to know how much they follow the commandments that Jesus gave us, which is to love each other as ourselves and to put God above both of us. This is between God and every specific soul that lives on the earth or has lived on the earth.
So you would probably say that some Roman Catholics are going to heaven and some Orthodox are going to heaven, right?
Yes,
okay.
but
right.
but
okay.
But
if I hear this, go ahead.
If I, as a sheep, end up on a bad route and I fall off a cliff, God is going to judge me for my mistakes. But can you imagine what he will do to the shepherd that sent me that way? Because we also have verses about...
Well, I must be, I'm in big trouble then, because I've been a shepherd for a long time.
Well, we are actually called, once saved, to become shepherds. But we have a responsibility. I don't think that Catholicism, to be specific, is sending people the right way. They are worshiping a man on the street. Orthodoxy is much better, but we still have Mary worship, saint worship. We have
I've never worshipped Mary a day in my life, nor any saint.
I'm actually glad that both of you are here tonight because I think if you guys can both keep calm and collect, it can be a really provocative conversation, but in a good way.
Well, Stephen, I had to jump in there.
No,
I've had to
I
let. Yeah.
understand
I'm
that.
glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Pastor Chuck, you stand by the statement that in Orthodoxy and even Catholicism, you don't pray to statues. So it's not idol worship. You don't pray to saints. Achilles, you said that it is.
Not Father Charles, maybe.
No, I didn't. I didn't say I didn't pray to saints. There's a difference, Stephen. We've talked about this. I don't worship any saint. Matter of fact, my avatar here, that's a Roman Catholic saint. That's Saint Francis of Assisi.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of him,
No.
well, I've read his life story. Great Christian man, someone you could uh, uh, he's a good example of a Christian life. But to come out with
That
these statements that we worship Mary, the Orthodox Church, and that we worship saints is just false.
no, it's not.
It's a lie.
No, it's not.
Let me ask you this question then, since you're saying that.
Mhm.
Which Orthodox theological seminary did you study in?
The Bible,
The Bible.
the word,
Okay.
the word,
Then
the
you
word of,
don't.
the
Then you
word
don't
of
know
God.
what you're talking about. No, not because you read the Bible. I'm not
Well,
saying that.
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
But
Let
to
me
say
respond.
that
Let me respond.
no,
Guys.
I'm going to finish
Yeah,
responding.
Okay, then, Pastor, you finish your thought, and then you will have the floor, Achilles.
Okay.
We do not, and I emphatically state, worship saints or worship Mary. Now, you say you attended an Orthodox church. I am sure they never told you to worship Mary, the Theotokos, or worship any saints. And you can go from there.
Okay. First off, let me say that the reason that you have this thumbnail and what you explained is something that I completely agree with you. We should take example from saints, and we should look into their lives and indeed try to match it. I completely agree. What is that? What was that sound?
I'm sorry, that was Claude being rude, and I just booted him from the studio. So, go ahead.
Did I say something that he didn't like?
I believe you did, so that makes me want to give you the floor to say it that much more.
Okay. But what is happening in Greece, at least that I am, this is going to sound so weird, and it is weird. They are saying that we talk to Mary and we pray to Mary because she is his mother and she will talk to him. And that's not what my Bible says. Now, between his mother and Jesus, there's 200 and 300 saints that you can pray to. And you can have your own personal one that he keeps protecting you. Because maybe, according to Orthodoxy, Jesus is too busy and we need others. If you go to an Orthodox, not library.
Claude, I have to interject real quick. I'm sure you have Christian friends, correct?
Yes.
Well,
And
Okay.
I did want to give him the floor uninterrupted, though, but honestly, it was off topic because what I wanted to ask you is you stated that the Orthodox Church does worship Mary and that they do
Yes.
worship saints, and I wanted you to defend that point, if you would.
Okay.
Uninterrupted, guys.
Okay.
In your
So
opinion, why does the Orthodox Church do that? How do they do that, rather?
oh yeah, good. First off, there is. Can you hear me? I just lost everyone.
No, I hear you.
You hear me, but I'm not hearing you through the speakers, through my earphones.
I hear you.
Can you
Okay.
hear
Anything?
us?
Yes, now I do. I do.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, all of you. All good, all good. So first off, you know there that no woman is allowed to go into Mount Athos. It's forbidden for women. Anyone knows that?
I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest with you.
I know. Yes, you're correct there. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. So there is this this place on the map of Greece, which is called Mount Athos.
Mount Athos, man cave. Go ahead.
Man cave. It is in Greek. It is called Agio Oros, and it translates to Mount Athos. And
Thank you. I know Greek. Go ahead.
okay, so because you said man cave, and I've never heard of that before. You mean only men can go? That's what you mean?
That'd be an American euphemism.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, man cave means like a boys' club,
Okay.
guy's place.
It is a
Guy's
boys' club.
place only.
It is a boys' club. So my friend and father Charles, I went to church when I was maybe 10 years old. I didn't go to church as a believer. I got into the church as somebody to help with what I would see when I was there as a believer, that they were preparing the communion. And I went there as what they call, I will try to translate it, but I don't know the name in English. Maybe you will help me here. A father-child, something like that.
A
Papa-
father-child?
Yeah, there are little children, like I was back then, that you
Altar
are.
boy.
Okay, say that again for the guys, so they understand what I'm
Altar
talking
boy.
about. Altar boy. Okay, so I was an altar boy, and I knew that there is this place inside the church that no women can enter. This is only for altar boys. When I asked why, they said because according to what happened in Eden, the woman is dirty. So I accepted that. Let's not say if this is right or wrong. I want to focus on the fact that this is not the reason that the woman is not allowed inside Mount Athos. Do you know the real reason she is not allowed? Women are not allowed in there.
Why?
Mount Athos is a monastery on a mountain in Greece. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's
not one. It has like 20 monasteries there, and they're huge.
Correct.
Huge.
Correct. But
the Russian monastery, the Serbian monastery,
yes,
they are huge.
Right.
Okay.
And if you become a monistic in the Orthodox Church, you must be unmarried, and it's for men only.
All right.
That's why women are not allowed.
And it goes a little bit further.
Locations that are for female only, right? Similar to like nuns, so they have places in the Orthodox Church that are female exclusive.
Rex, you sound a little bit distant. Are you a little bit distant from your mic?
I wasn't holding my mic. Is this better?
There you are. Way better, dude. Can
Sorry
you
about
repeat your
that.
question?
Yeah, I said, in fairness, don't you also in the Orthodox Church have locations that are exclusively for females?
That is
Yes.
totally correct. Yes.
Yes, but here comes the kicker. Why isn't there a female monastery in that place, in Mount Athos? They worship God too. Why can't they be there?
It's
They're not the
called
women.
temptation. It's called
Oh,
temptation. That's why it was set up that way.
so let me enlighten you in case you don't know that. For the real reason they're not allowed there, it's because all the fathers there are husbands to Mary, and no woman is allowed to be close to them. If that is not pagan, tell me what is. I was surprised. I didn't believe it, but I found it out when I went there. They told me, of course, that's why, because everybody here is, in fact, under an oath towards Mary. We have like 2,000 priests in there who are going to what? Marry Mary? That's weird. And don't tell me there's no Mary worship in Orthodoxy.
There is no worship of Mary.
Wrong. And a lie, and a lie, and a lie. And I am attacking them because Jesus, God, is very specific.
You need to go to seminary.
Hey, well, let's not be rude to each other and let's let everybody finish their thought, guys.
Well, you know, he's telling me I'm a liar. He needs to go
No, I said that's a lie.
and be
I'm not-
educated in
Wait,
Orthodoxy. He
what did he
obviously
say was
is
a
not
lie?
educated
Can I
in
ask,
Orthodoxy.
what did he say was a lie?
I said specifically that that was a lie, not that you, Father Charles, are a liar. There's a difference.
What was a lie, though? What exactly?
He said that there is no Mary worship in Orthodoxy. That's a lie.
Well, how is it a lie? Could you maybe explain that?
Yeah. We have in Greece, for example, if I give you this number, trust me, it's a low number. We have more than 5,000 churches with the name Mary. Mary the Forgiver, Mary the High Priestess, Mary the All Loving. I can think of 1,000 names that we have for Mary.
Do you know what Theotokos means?
Wait a minute. Give me. Yes, I know. I know what Theotokos
please
means
tell me. What does it mean?
because I am Greek. Theotokos means giving birth to God. That's also.
Well, to be more
Because you're
exact in the
Greek.
translation,
That was good because you're Greek, right? That was awesome. Actually.
That was easy for me.
that was like a Tuesday for you.
You're off a little bit. It actually means God bearer.
God bearer, exactly. Yeah, okay. Lost in the translation, but I understand that's what it means. But did God choose a holy woman to give birth to his son, or is she somebody who gives birth to God? Can you see the difference here?
She gives birth to God. Because if she doesn't give birth to God, you run into all kinds of theological problems.
No, that's a theological problem for me. Because
well, for you, maybe, but all this was settled at the Council of Trent. And by the way, this was when, if you even know what the Council of Trent is.
No, I understand.
This was when a lot of things.
No low blows.
Well, I'm not trying to be low blow, Stephen, but if he don't have the knowledge of the Christian church, then he's going to be missing a lot of points.
Well, he grew up Orthodox, Pastor, so if he doesn't know anything,
don't sound like it to me.
About the Orthodox Church.
Stephen has that right, I believe, because
I just know. I want to just make sure everybody is heard, and everybody has equal amount of time to defend their points. That's all.
My perspective here is that I have been rebirthed. There is a transformation that took place inside of me, and Mary had nothing to do with it. It was me accepting that Jesus is the Son of God. I believe that you are going in wrong theological paths when you say that a woman, very a saint, can give birth to God. Mary was selected because she was such a saint, but that's about it. We cannot pray to her because we have the first commandment that says, put no other name above him. And we put Mary as his mother, as his God deliverer. God is not being delivered. God is, he existed before time, and he made a plan. And he said to Satan, to the snake, to be more specific, that there will be one seed of the woman without you that will crush your head. And he was referring to that. Mary was selected to do that. She didn't come here to do it because she is something equal to God. So if you start paying attention to what is happening today as we're stepping into the era of the Antichrist, in the images that we have of Mary, Jesus is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and like a little baby this big. That's not only wrong, it's purposefully being done to minimize the word of Jesus. And there is a very specific reason why they're doing it. It's because we have no word from Mary. We have no commandments from Mary. So I can put anything I want in her mouth. So if I want to say that Mary accepts wrong, I can do it. But Jesus is very specific. That's why they are replacing Jesus, because Jesus has given us very specific commandments of what he wants and what he doesn't want. Mary hasn't. They cannot replace what Jesus said, but they can push him aside and replace him with an all-loving mother figure, which is common to all religions. And I will remind you that Jesus said that he didn't come to unite. He came to separate. Worshipping Mary unites everyone because she's the symbol of a mother and what a mother goes through, and they're using it to unite us with Islam that Jesus doesn't want. So these are very dangerous roads, and if you want to know how we arrived at those roads, is through councils. I take a pause because I don't want to monopolize the word, but I was only responding to where do I see this? I see it everywhere I look in the country that I am, everywhere. Now, to Father Charles, I'm sorry, one more thing. To Father Charles' defense, Father, are you in the States? That was
I'm right next door to you.
Where?
I'm kidding. I'm in the States.
Okay. So to your defense, it's I understand how somebody in the States can see divinity in Orthodoxy. But me being here in its center, I see that this is not the way that Jesus has asked us to worship him and our Father. But in the States, where you have every other denomination, I can see how you see Orthodoxy as something closer to the truth. But it has taken a wrong path, and it's leading people astray. I'm adding a full stop here. Semicolon.
Yeah. Well, I figure I go ahead, Stephen.
I'm going to give you the floor, Pastor Chuck, to defend your point all the way through. But just really briefly, Achilles, like very briefly, if you don't mind, what denomination, if closest, do you identify with now since you've left the Orthodox Church? Because it sounded like you're not a fan of Protestants either.
What I think is best is to have, let me say, that those that have helped me the most find the truth are Baptists. These are the ones that have helped me the most. Kent Hovind, Stephen Anderson. I think John MacArthur is one of them. I'm not sure. His church is a Baptist
John
church.
MacArthur.
Yeah. These three have helped me a lot in my life, in my
Okay.
transformation. So
Okay.
I'm not in any. I follow the truth, and I hate lies.
All right. Well, thank you for that
Um,
answer.
Proverbs guy, if you may,
Yeah.
if you would, before Chuck begins his response, can y'all give me a little bit of a recap? I've been gone for a period.
So just briefly, Father Charles and Achilles are having a discussion, and the discussion is whether or not the Orthodox Church takes part in Mary worship, and it has
Okay.
been heated at times. It's been the
Okay.
best of times and been the worst of times.
Okay.
But everyone is still alive, and Father Charles is about to drop some Greek on us, which we
Okay.
can check with the guy who's from Greece. So
And Heart of Flesh,
off.
are you at Chili's?
Yes,
Are you, if you don't mind me asking, what nationality are you?
Greek.
Okay, you're Greek. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And
I think I'm
in Greece.
So
and
we,
in Greece. Okay.
we have an expert in Greek, and we have someone who speaks it.
Okay. That's fine. I'll mute and listen to Father Charles.
All right, Father, you have the floor, sir.
Ooh. Steven Anderson, huh? That's interesting. But I'll leave that alone. First of all,
I have some things I could say about him too, but I won't.
First of
We
all,
all make mistakes. We're not here to judge. I just said that those that have. The question was, where do I find myself? And I said that these are the three that have helped me most, and they all happen to be Baptists.
okay.
So there's something that Dr. Hovind keeps repeating, which is
I
every
don't-
row.
I don't
Every
think the issue anyone had was Dr. Hovind. I think the issue anyone had was Anderson.
I get it.
But
I get it. But he was the
He's
first.
a very controversial figure.
He is. He is
But,
because Christianity.
We'll circle back to that though. I don't want to cut Father Chuck off either. We
True.
gave you time uninterrupted, and the same's going to happen for him. So, Father Chuck, the floor is yours.
Okay. Just so Heart of Flesh knows a little bit about me, I think I may give him a heart attack here.
No, I don't think
First
so.
of all, I was born and raised a Roman Catholic. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody's
19
perfect.
when I was 19 years when I was 19 years old, I had a born again experience, okay?
Great.
Which put me on a journey. I left the Catholic Church, so I went to the next, closest church that I thought at the time. That was Lutheran Church. From the Lutheran Church, anyway, I went to non-denominational churches. I think I even visited a church. Anyway, I'd be here all night if I went through everything. I was a late bloomer. I found Orthodoxy. And actually, for being an Orthodox priest, I was ordained late in life, 38. I had college behind me, but then I had to do 3 years, actually 4 years of seminary because I got a master's degree in seminary. And anyway, I wasn't ordained until 38. But the point is, I was on that spiritual journey too. And for what gets me, Heart of Flesh, you make these statements, and I'm going to try to be very charitable here. Yes, even me, a priest, I can sometimes get nasty, I guess. But but when you directly come out and say it's a lie, the Orthodox Church worships Mary, I'm sorry, I have to say you have no idea what you're talking about. That's why I made the statement. Have you been to seminary at all? Have you have you been taught by any scholars in the Orthodox Church?
May I respond?
Go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
What you are doing right now is called, it's a fallacy, and it's called appeal to authority. When I'm telling you that the authority is leading people astray, you are responding to me that I should get educated by that authority. And what I'm responding to that is that they would hang me as they hanged every prophet, even Jesus himself, for telling them that what they're doing is wrong. I live in Greece, and I have done my best because I too have a heart and I have a patience. When I drive 1,000 kilometers away from my house and I go to visit them and they tell me, leave and go to the official place to get a QR code so you can officially enter the monastery then, because I went through the back door, I think that these are the guys that were supposed to protect me from the QR code. I grew up thinking that when the times of the Antichrist come, they will be the ones that are going to ring the bell and they're going to warn me. But when I entered their monasteries, one of what is being considered here the most, let's say, stuck up monastery, the one that is not taking European Union funds. So I had to carry a 50-kilo car battery on my hands in order to give it to them, because they get no funding, because they try to keep themselves as closer to the old times as possible, and everybody around hates them for doing that. But Greece has figured out that this is the closest to the truth monastery. So I entered that, and there is an official way to get there, and there is an unofficial way to get there. Through the unofficial way, you have to go to a priest's house. You wait for a car. The car comes, takes you over a fence. You walk a little bit, then another car takes you. You drive through, and you enter the church during the night. So I did that, and they told me to come back officially.
Well, Heart of Flesh. I could write a letter of recommendation if you want to go back.
The thing is, after that,
I get you in the right way, Bo.
No, that's not my point. My point is that we are into the times of the Antichrist, and the church is not doing what it was supposed to be doing. And you're telling me that I should be consulting with them of what I should be saying. And the reason I'm following this channel and other channels is that people do what we were called to do from Paul in Acts 17:11. He says that the Bereans are more noble because they examine the scriptures daily to see if what I'm telling them is true.
Okay. Can I interject here and ask you a question?
Sure.
When you were a little boy, did you teach yourself to read, or did someone in authority teach you how to read?
They surely
And write. I'm sorry, read and write.
I will tell you this as a response. The answer is yes. Somebody taught me how to read, but as I've been in the church for a long time, and I went to an American university, and you should know that the American university, the level, is the same level with the latest years of Hellenic Greek high school. Everything in the university was repetitive to me. When it comes to basic science, when it comes to physics, when it comes to biology, when it comes to mathematics, the United States is our high school. But in that high school, we also get Christianity lessons. There is not a single day that somebody gave me to read a Bible verse. So I went there two ways at the beginning. The first way was to enter a church as an altar boy. They taught me everything about the Holy Communion. Nobody ever asked me if I had a Bible. Then I went to school because at 10 years old, I was too young to be in high school. But when I got into high school and I got the Orthodoxy lessons, I learned who is the bishop, who is the archbishop, why Mary matters, what do we carry when we do baptisms. And there is not a single book in the 6 years of high school that has Bible verses in it and tells you why salvation is not yours. It's not according to your works. We have in Ephesians one of, for me, the most foundational Christian doctrine, which is that we are not getting saved by our works. We are getting saved by the works that Jesus did. And you see my username. Do you remember where that comes from? What Bible verse it comes from?
I believe it's in John. It's
It's in
talking about taking away the heart of stone and giving a heart of flesh.
That's the one, but it's in Jeremiah. It's in the Old Testament, and it's the promise of God that he will make a new covenant with us, and he will be the one that he will take our heart of stone and replace it with a heart of flesh. And then he will put his spirit inside us, and he will be the one changing us. But that is not convenient to Orthodoxy, because Orthodoxy wants you to do works. So then a third way appeared for me to learn what my Bible talks about, and that was to start visiting churches and ask. And all I got as a response was, "Are you taking the Holy Communion?" I said, "Yes," but other people say no because they're working or they have some excuse. The other question is, did you ever go to confess to a priest? Something that we are being instructed by Jesus to not do. We should confess to each other, and we should not. We should be very wary of those who wear robes and call themselves our fathers, because there's only one Father, and that is me, God says. So if you say no to any of those questions, they say, "Oh, then you can't read the Bible. You will not understand," because that's the only way for you to understand, to come to us and do this, do that, give us our money for charity, of course, and then slowly, maybe in 50 years, you will understand. Well, I might be dead in 50 years. There's a road outside my house, and maybe a bus will run over me. Understanding salvation is something that is imminent. You have to do your best to bring people to it, because you don't know where and when their death will come. You cannot push them to do things and then they will start slowly be blessed enough to understand. You should tell them, open your Bible, read this, and then come back to me. And I will explain what you've read. I would accept that. They are not doing it. So I went inside Mount Athos and I was holding a Bible. And I kept asking bishops, can you take me to the archbishop? Because there's something I want to talk to him about, which is what we started this discussion with. And they say, oh, well, he's busy right now. Well, can I meet somebody else? Well, no, they're all busy. What do you want to talk about? Which Bible is this? Is this the right translation? Anyway, yeah, it's the right translation. But anyway, yeah, wait a minute here, wait a minute here, wait a minute there. And at some point, some archbishop came, and the only thing he asked me was, how did I get here? So you have one kid, because that's what I am and what I was, who is not under any master's degree. And he has some questions, and he's coming with his Bible. And all you have for him is you send him out, not you, Father Charles. What I'm describing, the problem, and I'm keeping you out of it. I'm just helping a brother as I see you as a brother. And I already said that in the United States, I understand how noble it is to be Orthodox. But the truth about Orthodoxy is that it is not innocent. And they sent me out to go get myself a QR code back another 800 miles to go back to Athens, get the paper, and then come back. When I get a QR code and somebody says, let me see who went in here, they can check the QR codes, they can check the database, and by the way, I agree with the comments. I agree. I'm taking my eyes off them, though, because I'm losing my train of thought. I studied computer science, and I specifically studied databases. So if you don't want to hear my opinion, which is uneducated on religion, hear my opinion, which is completely educated on databases. Giving them a QR code gives them my address, my name, and when times arrive, like what happened in 2020, they get the right to see who visited monasteries. And I don't want that. I don't want to give the beast my personal information. And that's the only way to enter. I'm posing here to hear your thoughts, but please don't tell me, go to authority, examine what I said, and tell me if you find it right or wrong. And no low blows, because I hope everybody sees that this is not a personal discussion to you. I'm not giving you blows. I'm not telling you, no, you know what, Father, you are this or you are that. I'm talking about orthodoxy, respecting the fact that there are a lot of good people in it. But as a premise, it's wrong. It's a denomination. That's my statement.
Well, I'm sorry you had such a bad experience in Mount Athos. I really am.
Everybody does. They don't see it. They don't see it.
I wouldn't say everybody does. I've never been there myself, but I've heard. I've had priest associates that have been there to visit. So I haven't known any lay people that went to Athos that I've talked to. I know of people that went, but I can't talk about the experience they had. I can only tell you experiences that priest had that went, and they all obviously were good, and that's why I feel so bad that you had such a bad experience.
No, it's
and
not
I mean
about.
I mean that from my heart. I do.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. It's not a bad experience. With those that you are describing have a good experience because they don't have the requirements that I have of priests. They have different requirements. They are leveling themselves up. And if you want to know how exactly Mount Athos works, this is how it works. You are supposed to have your own spiritual father, and that's the one you're going to visit. Most of the times, you can find him in the monastery, unless you are super blessed. If you are super blessed, then your super blessed father is going to be up in a cave. And your job is to get in the monastery and then walk up into a cave and meet with him, where he is going to share with you this magnificent knowledge that he has from fasting, not really fasting because people are sending him food, but staying in a cave for all this time. And when he dies, they're going to write books about him. Have you seen the new saint of Greece, which is Paisios? I believe he was a brilliant soul, although I've never met him. But I bet that if he comes back to life, he's going to hate the fact that when he died, they made pictures of him. And now every house in Greece has a picture of him because he's wow. And now Hollywood is making a movie of him. And Mickey Rourke is starring in the movie. That is...
They should have got someone else besides Mickey Rourke. But anyway, go ahead.
Definitely. I mean, seriously, is that the best they could find? But anyway, that is wrong, Father. That is wrong. And I shouldn't be calling you Father, but it comes better to me than call you brother, because you do have better knowledge and much more education on the issues than I do. So I am bound to call you Father and not brother. Everybody else in here is a brother. I will refer to you as Father, although this is a wrong term. We shouldn't be using it. There is only one Father. So I didn't have a bad experience. I just have high expectations. Other people don't have those expectations. When I was in the priest's house and we were waiting for the car to arrive, another kid like my age, asked the priest there, why can't I have more women? And I said, oh, that's easy. He said, don't speak. And I said, what? He said, you don't speak. I'm saying, yeah, but Jesus said, no, but Jesus was very specific. Next time you speak, you get out of here. I'm like, okay. And he told him that, wait, when you get in the Mount Athos, ask them. So what happens when you go in as a kid, as like this group of newcomers, you wait there and there are bishops coming to you, and it's like they're trying to become your spiritual father. If you don't like them, somebody else will come. At some point, you will find yourself the spiritual father who's going to give you all the knowledge. And what I'm saying is that I have all my knowledge. It's right here. It's 2 books. It's the New Testament and the Old Testament that predicted the New Testament.
Can I ask you a question here? I interrupt your train of thought.
Yes, brother. Now it's an endless train. You see why my email was so long?
Well, I'm not. You keep thinking me. We all us Americans sound like I'm Rex, but I do.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right.
That's okay. I just don't want you to think you're talking to the wrong person. Anyway, but here in America, there's a tremendous amount of denominations, and I guess why. Maybe it's because it's personal to you and you have a connection to Orthodoxy, but in America, every Christian is trying to tell you what to believe and how to think. Well, denominationally, not individually. But so I guess why don't you have a problem with why? Dustin, don't interrupt what I'm saying, please. Now I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, forget it.
Who interrupted? I didn't even see who interrupted.
Heart of Flesh.
I didn't.
Can I ask,
oh,
Heart of Flesh? Can I ask you another question?
sure.
Is your dad still alive?
Yes.
Okay. You call him father?
Definitely.
Okay. Well, don't you just told me the Bible says call no man father.
No, it says let no man be called your spiritual father.
Well, then you're contradicting Paul, who says he is a spiritual. He's a spiritual father. How do you?
Yeah, that's
how do you fix that?
That's what Orthodoxy is doing. It's getting one verse, and it's making everything through one verse. But what I've learned, and those that help me, some you like, some you don't, have said this, and I went by it. From Dr. Hovind, he has said it many times. Every time it comes up, he will say it again and again, that in order to be sure that the Bible means what you understood, you have to at least verify it with 3 other verses. It's not just we all make mistakes. He said something that maybe God told him that was a little bit off. I don't know. But right now, everything in my country relates to
God
fathers.
was a little bit off?
No, maybe God will tell Paul that he was a little bit off. But we took this one verse and we created.
Oh, wait. Do you believe
thousands.
that the Bible's the holy, inerrant word of God? Then Paul couldn't be off, right?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
But
okay.
judging from the
when
result,
Jesus said, "Call no man father," he
Guys,
was
it's not really a
to the priest
back and forth unless we let people go back and forth.
I understand what you're saying, but judging from the result,
you can't answer the question. Go ahead.
No, completely. I agree that this is the infallible word of God. But we take one word and we create thousands of fathers. Now that is what Jesus was talking about we should not be doing. If you want to...
Jesus was talking about the scribes and the Pharisees.
And which is Orthodoxy today.
That is exactly the group of people he was talking about.
And we leave it again.
His followers.
We leave it again. It's Orthodoxy. I'm not talking about Catholicism because it's way worse. Let's not even go there. They have one big father, which is supposedly God on earth. Now, I won't even go there. I'm
not defending the Pope. He's not God on earth. He's the vicar of Christ. That's what they believe. It's a difference than saying God on earth. He's the representative of Jesus on earth. A representative. That's what the vicar of Christ means. And again, I'm not defending the papacy. I'm just putting what the words mean. Okay.
Okay. I just want you to think of my response, which is the fact that we are reliving the Old Testament. We are reliving what Israel did wrong. We're doing it again. And these are the end times. Orthodoxy says that we shouldn't pay attention to the Old Testament. It's fairy tales. Orthodoxy has accepted that it takes billions of years to come here. I think it's literal. It's a 6-day creation. There are so many things that Orthodoxy is getting wrong that I wouldn't know where to start.
Now, that's some interesting statements, considering that most of us here are young Earth creationists, I believe.
Me too.
That would be, I have freedom as a priest, and the Orthodox Church gives me this freedom. I can be an evolutionist, or I can be a young Earth creationist. I can preach either from the pulpit. Okay.
Okay, I've
So
heard in
no, so you can't paintbrush the whole Orthodox Church with, oh, there are billions a year, there are billions. It's see again. I don't want to say you're misinformed. Okay,
that's
you
what you
really
say.
are misinformed a lot about what you've said about Orthodoxy tonight. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, your opinion is highly respected, but I consider it wrong because the information that I need is in the book. But if you go to an Orthodox bookstore, you have hundreds of books of saints. And if you happen to find an Old Testament, then you found the lucky bookstore. They don't have it. And if you ask, they say, oh, you know what? This is Jewish. I'm like, what? Wait, what? I understand. I understand the separation. I understand that Israel didn't accept Jesus. I understand why the New Testament was not written in Hebrew. I understand a lot of things,
Can I
but
ask
that
you a
doesn't.
question real quick? Are you saying that in Greece, if you go to buy a Bible from a bookstore, most of the stores will only have the New Testament?
Yes, and they will only have 200 or 500 books of all the saints. And you might find even the New Testament, you will find it on a corner somewhere. It's not it's not what they're selling, really. They're
The
selling.
Orthodox Church official Bible is the Septuagint. That's the Bible I use. It's sitting right next to me. It contains the Old and New Testament. The Old Testament was, of course, was in Greek.
Yeah.
You should have known that if you went to Orthodox Church. And we use the Old Testament a lot, a lot.
Not here.
Well, maybe not in
here.
Greece. I can't speak
Yeah.
for Greece, but
Yeah. I'm informing you what is happening here, and as it is the center of Orthodoxy, I am trying to ring some bells that I'm not undereducated on the issue, but I am warning that we are very close to the end times. We are into the end times, and Orthodoxy has completely lost the train of saving people. And one example about, I understand and I respect the fact that they give you the freedom to preach young earth or gap theory, or that's up to you. That is not happening here. I have heard on radio. Yes.
Yeah, he has the right to, thankfully, to believe biblically accurate creation story.
I think that we should only be teaching what the Bible preaches. That's what we should be preaching. But anyway, I've heard on the radio, which is an official Orthodox radio, the phrase that whoever believes in a 6-day creation is not being taken seriously by anyone in the Orthodox Church. These people are morons, and you shouldn't be paying attention to what they're saying. I've heard that myself. I got really angry when I heard it, and it was on an official Orthodox radio. And there is one church in Greece which has nothing, has no comparison to your church of that, which is the Pentecostal Church. The Pentecostal Church of Greece, they completely base themselves on what the Bible says. They don't take snakes to show you how they can control snakes, as it happens in the United States. They don't have the Kundalini. No, they kind of do that. And I told you, I'm not under any church. I'm into truth, not into lies. If you go to their churches, this Kundalini thing, unfortunately, it exists here too. But their radio is all about reading the Bible. All about reading the Bible. All the day they are reading the Bible. They don't have any saints talking to you. They don't worship images. I know you're going to tell me that Orthodoxy doesn't worship images, they worship what the image represents. Well, okay, that's what they did back then too. And the scribes and Pharisees that Jesus was talking about and too have re-emerged. And for me, there is a big part of being guilty in that. It's not an accident. It relates to the end times. And we should be very careful. We should take the Bible, we should read it, and yes, we should have people that understand it better than just open it up and start reading. But when they tell you...
Well, thank God you said that. Name, oh, hallelujah.
We agree. But when they tell you that the 1,000 years of the reign of Christ are metaphorical, they are lying. And this is what's happening here. 70% of the New Testament is metaphorical. Yeah, well, you're not saved by your works, but it's your works that show that you are a good person. No, it's very clear. God will replace what is inside me if he thinks he should do it. What do I need to do? Follow the commandments Jesus gave me. The Old Testament gave me 10 commandments in order to be reflected upon. And then Jesus said that all you need to do now in the New Testament is accept me as the Lamb. And when I did that, I got transformed.
Okay.
It was a painful process.
Time for a question. You got transformed, right?
Yes.
So did I at 19. Actually, it was on Valentine's Day. Easy to remember. I don't know if you all have Valentine's Day in Greece, but
we have, but I don't. I have completely no respect for pagan celebrations of Eros. That we gave him another name, which was a saint.
Well, I'm not going to get into Saint Valentine, but it started as a feast day of a saint, and America capitalism made it a money-making saint. Anyway, let's just skip Valentine's Day. Okay,
we agree.
Okay, we agree. Anyway, I was getting to you were transformed. Once you were transformed, did you want to do everything you could to please the Father, please Jesus?
That's the difference, and I agree with what you are implying. That's the difference. When you get saved, that's the only thing you want to do. It's not that I want to do good things to get saved. I want to do good things as gratitude for what God did for me for free.
Well, because that's exactly what the Orthodox teaches, and that's what I wanted you to come. Oh, yes, my friend.
No, I'm here. I'm telling you.
Well, it must be different in Greece than in the
I've
U.S.
been a priest for 28 years, dude. You're going to tell me no, my friend?
In the United States, you've been a priest in the United States, and I told you already that compared to the other denominations, Orthodoxy, I can see that those arriving at Orthodoxy in the United States, I can see what they see in it. But here, that is the center, I can tell you, no, it's another denomination. Because there, when I got into Mount Athos and I got into the church that hasn't even changed its clock since Byzantine times, and it's 4 hours before the clock of Greece, there was one picture to worship when you enter, Mary. And I got really disappointed. I expected that church to have Jesus. Oh, Jesus is in there. He's there, all right. But when you enter the church, there is a big image of Mary that you have to kiss in order to get inside. Well, you can skip it, but people will give you the looks. There shouldn't be a picture of Mary there. And
I always liked when people gave me the looks. But anyway, go ahead.
Me too, and I will keep that as a response to what you said, that I had a bad experience. I didn't have a bad experience. That is the experience that somebody who has been awakened to the word by the grace of God and not his works receives when he enters there. If you enter there in order to find a spiritual father to be taught things about life and about interesting things, if you're going to watch the movie about Saint Paisios, you are definitely going to see all the problems. They say pretty things, but not according to the Bible. We should be verifying what they're saying according to the Bible. Anyway, if you find, because I'm trying to be wary in our discussion, but at the same time, I want to find. Okay, I want to find the link. When the Pope visited, Zelensky. Yes, that's the
Don't
one.
forget, I have nothing to do with the Pope.
I know, but Zelensky doesn't
And
have
again, let
anything.
me, for the record, this dude in the papacy here, Saint Francis, sorry, Pope Francis. Ooh, I would agree. He's I'll just. I
No,
don't.
it's
I
not.
don't want to. I don't want to say nasty things. But I sure wish he wasn't Pope. I wish there was no Pope. But if there has to be, I sure wish he wasn't Pope. Anyway, go on.
040, I think it is 040. If somebody has something else to say, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drop you a link in from YouTube on the chat, which is the meeting of the Pope to Zelensky. I will repeat that it's not about the Pope right now. It has to do with uniting everyone under one world religion. And the way they're going to do that is by saying that we all believe in God. No, you believe in Allah. Allah has 109 verses inside the Quran that says that to go to him, you must kill somebody of another religion. And it gives you no other way to arrive to God. It doesn't say if you're a good person. It doesn't say if you don't cheat on your wife. It says, oh, well, if it happens to kill a Christian, then yeah, you're going to Allah.
Yeah, I'm trying to just save you some breath here. I had to read the Quran in seminary. Yeah, it's the Quran. I'm not going to give a lesson on the Quran now, but I'm sure you'll agree with me here. They stole what they wanted from the Old Testament and the New Testament of the Christian Bible. Anyway, go
on. But what they are about to do is they are going to say that we all believe in one God, and that's false because we don't believe in the same God. Okay, my God is telling me, do not kill, period. That's not the same God with theirs. How can we go under one church and pray? To what? I pray to the one that says don't kill, and you pray to the one that says it's okay to kill. And because I have also studied the Bhagavad Gita, because God allowed me to go into wrong paths when I was young, like the rest of the world today, 20 years ago, I believed that Buddhism was a good thing. Yes, Wolf, me. So I have the Bhagavad Gita, and if you read the first books, the Upanishads, the whole religion begins with their God, Krishna. No, I think it was. I think it was Krishna, and he's telling to the guy who started the church, the whole Buddhism, not Buddha. Buddha came later. I think it was Shiva, and the guy's name is Krishna. It goes a long way back in my life, so I don't remember. But it says, go to that village and kill everyone. He says, why should I kill everyone? Well, we are supposed to start a new religion here. We can't start a new religion with another religion, so kill them. He kills them, and then he says, okay, now go to the other village and kill more. That's not my God either. My God is very specific, and he's telling me that all other religions belong to Satan. And he is right. We have the way to the truth and the way of the liar. The liar wants you to kill Christians. And they're going to come for our heads. We know this. God has told us that they're going to come for our heads. And they're going to be all of them. Because
Okay,
then
but heart
their
of flesh.
religion
Go ahead.
instructs them to do it. Both Islam and Buddhism.
Okay, but heart of
And
flesh.
Hebrews. And Hebrews.
Okay.
They are instructed that we are idol worshippers because we worship Jesus. And if Sahadrin, I think it's called, happens, then they have the right to kill us. I'm just letting you know that every other religion wants to kill you. Is that the same God with ours? How can we unite under one church? I am sorry for the rant. That is just an answer because I said that I'm going to drop a link, and the link is that the Pope visited Zelensky. And if you follow the link and you go to the 40th second, there is an image on the right, and it's an Orthodox image. It's an image of Mary, and Jesus is small and blacked out. There is no Jesus in the image. It's black. It's on the right side of the meeting, and this is revealing what they are trying to do. They are removing Jesus from the picture. And the reason they're doing that is because Jesus was very, very specific, and they don't like his words. They're not convenient to the one world religion that is supposed to accept the wrong for being okay. Jesus said that he's here to separate, not to unite the wrong with the right, but to separate it. And that's why they're kicking him out. So whoever wants to check out the link and go to the 40th second, pause it and look at the image on your right. I think if you allow it to play after, it just zooms in a little bit, but I'm not sure which second is best.
When you say they don't want us to hear the words of Jesus, now are you saying like the Bible as a whole, or specifically like the words in red in the New Testament? What do you mean when you say they're trying to stop us from hearing the words of Jesus?
First off, my Bible doesn't have any red words. I know American Bibles do. Is that supposed to be the words of Jesus? They are in red.
Right. When Jesus speaks in the American Bible, and lots of translations, the words are literally in red.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I wasn't sure it is when it's the words of Jesus. No, the thing is that we have a gospel from the mouth of Jesus being spoken through the prophet, the apostles. That gospel is very specific.
Well, it's kind of specific. Not specific enough for you not to disagree with Charles and not taking spiritual fathers, because Paul's pretty specific that he's a spiritual father and you should have them. But you're pretty specifically think you shouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very specific concerning Satan, concerning evil, concerning what we are supposed to do. Let me throw something from Greek here. We call them the Gospels, and we call it the Gospel. By not being blessed to be Greek, because I have been blessed enough to be born here, you don't know this. Maybe you have studied, and Father Charles definitely knows what I'm about to say. Gospel, as a word, it doesn't reveal anything. But the original word is evangelion. Evangelion is two words, and it's Ev Agelion, and it is good news. Gospel means good news. Do you understand? I don't want to phrase it as a question to, in quotes, test. I'm not testing you. The good news is that salvation is not up to us, because the bad news were that people should follow the law, and it was very hard to do. So the apostles gave us the good news. The good news is that one man kept the law, and his blood can be what will save you. This is the good news. The good news is Jesus. He is the Lamb. That gets reflected into a lot of verses inside the Bible, especially Ephesians 2, I think 18, which says that we're not being saved by our works, so that no one can boast. You can't go to God and say, open the door because I am, and I've done this, and I've done that.
Well, then how do you reconcile faith without works is dead?
That once you get saved, you're supposed to match your image, which is God and Jesus, who died for me. I am supposed to match it. If I don't match that, if I don't try to match that, then it's completely pointless to be saved. We are not getting saved for ourselves, because in Proverbs 6, God is telling us to go to the ant, thou sluggard. If you see an ant outside on the road on its own, is it out there for itself? Is it out there because it wants to do something? Or is it out there because it is working for the colony? And we are supposed to be a colony. We are supposed to be living to save brothers and sisters and be fishers of men and bring them aboard the boat of Jesus.
Great. And the ants submit to the queen. So even in ants, they have a hierarchy and they submit to those above them, correct?
That is not correct. What you're saying is correct. That is not what I see, what I have, what I interpret from this verse. What I got from it is the fact that we are supposed to be working for our brothers and sisters and not for ourselves. Now, you can dig deeper and find other things, but here you open a way for me to tell you that the KJV has some serious issues. And one of them is that it has translated wrong, because although I can't take an oath on this one, because the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, and maybe it's my Greek translation of the Hebrew that is wrong. But in the Greek version, it doesn't say female. It doesn't say look at her ways. It says look at its ways. My Bible. All the Greek Bibles that I've tested, I've looked up, they're not saying go to her ways.
I'll save you the trouble. And it is gendered in Hebrew, and it is her. This is also a common Christian miracle they talk about. So if it's translating it as there, then it is using the improper pronoun. It is her.
Yeah, and so in Greek, the be has male and female, but we always call it a her. It has to do with a linguistic issue. It doesn't have a male. in the language. We never say the male bee. We have to be very specific when we talk about the bee to explain that we're talking about the male one. But if you say a bee, it's always a female. So I would be very wary, and I disagree with Dr. Hovind on this one, because Dr. Hovind has a KJV dogma, but it's okay because everybody has their own mistakes. I personally disagree, and I think that this is a linguistic issue, and we shouldn't try to make a message out of it.
You're not going to agree.
Yeah.
You're not going to agree with everyone about everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. But I do think that when God is telling us, "Thou sluggard," is telling us that look at how the ant is working for the colony, and don't be a sluggard. I mean, it's like plain to my eyes. It's saying, "Thou sluggard," and that's why I think and I feel after I got saved, I have like 200 videos out there, which take me around 1 month to 40 days, sometimes 2 months and 3 months to make one of them. I don't make videos like other people do. I make very weird videos which have a lot of text. I'm trying to translate to you things that are happening in Greece. I'm trying to translate to Greeks things that are happening in the States. And I use visuals, I use movies, I use music, and trying to get a message out. And there's been one per month since 2016 January. One
So
per month.
Can I ask you another question here? So I
Yes.
heard you say earlier, and I agree with Kent Hovind on this. Hermeneutically, you should look to verses that aren't single verses. You should look for it should be repetitive. But I guess my question is to you, not related to that necessarily, but how do you decide when you should take the Bible literally and when you should not? Because a plain reading of the book of Revelation, it is a book of events that have already happened. It talks about things that happen in the near future to the writer and well and complete. But it seems like you take a figurative version of that. So when and how do you go about deciding if the Bible is being literally true to you or figuratively true?
I completely agree that there are things that are metaphorical. When it says look at the ant, it doesn't say get down and just start looking. It means think about the ways of the ant. The book of Revelation.
Consider the ant, yes.
Yes, consider, yes. In Greek, it is look, and it actually means consider. And I believe it has been translated correctly because it means more than just look. But the book of Revelation starts with a lot of metaphors, but they all relate to things that if you are paying attention to what the world is and what it does, and you are sincere in your heart that you want to understand, I do believe God reveals things, and we should be very wary of our own revelations, because I have a lot of disagreements with a lot of people out there. One of my favorite guys, we have the same, well, let me drop that. Anyway, I have disagreements with a lot of people, but if you skip the first chapters, which are very metaphorical, and they speak of dragons, and they speak of dragons coming out of the sea, beasts, you do understand that it's talking about the Antichrist. You do understand that it's talking about the beast system. You do understand that there will be some kind of a unity between nations. I mean, it is metaphorical, but if you are sincere in your heart that you want to understand, God is alive, He's hearing you, and He is going to help. But there are things that are literal. I don't know where you draw the line. I know that 100% the book of Revelation is metaphorical. But I will give you one example. It says at some point that I will, I can get it now and look at it to find the exact verse, but it says that I will give you a stone, a blank stone with a new name on it. That only the one that gets it understands it. So now that I got my new name, I understand it. You cannot arrive to the revelation without experiencing it. And this is where a divine word matters. It's not up to our interpretations. We should be observant and not judgmental. We should not say, oh yeah, that means that, let me go to the next page. Are you sure it meant that? Read it again. Think of what
you don't think the book Revelation is written personally for you, though, right?
No, but it says that if you, I don't remember exactly the verse. Let me look it up.
I guess my point is, if I were born in 1800s, right, and I'm reading the book of Revelation, I could probably find lots of things that I could tie to my, and preachers did this. Lots of people did this. The point is that if you try to look at it through that lens, you're always going to be able to tie it to your life, which I guess isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's certainly not what the author intended.
Okay. Some will say here that it is also in general, but also specific. It is a living book, and it speaks to each and every one of us individually. But indeed, the book of Revelation is revealing to us specific things that are going to take place during the time that is called the Apocalypse, which means revelation. And I believe we are undergoing that right now, not in 70 AD, but right now. I found the verse. It says, it is Revelation 2:17, but I need to read on 16 to show you why. Oh no, not this website, but this website. I am actually using Bible Hub because I have found serious errors with the KJV. But the KJV is the only Bible that has the Old Testament completely correct. And with that method, they took the trust of people, and they're not trying to verify it on the New Testament. Because it's the New Testament, and very specifically the book of Revelation, that is getting it completely wrong. I am using Bible Hub because you find one verse and it gives you all the translations from all the Bibles. And when you have 20 Bibles contradicting one, and they all have the same meaning, and one of them is different, and it is supposed to be the one that everybody reads, I started questioning that. So I looked up the words, what the original is, and again, it was a blessing to be Greek because I could do it for the New Testament. When it comes to the Old Testament, I have the same problem that you do with Greek. I don't know Hebrew. I need to rely on this website that is also giving me the Hebrew word, and you can examine it if you want. I'm doing this kind of research when I find inconsistencies. Sorry. So it says anyone